Chapter 4772. After saying that, Divine General Sheng Yuan looked at the honor roll in front of him and sighed. Who was this mad god? It was obvious that even he was very interested in mad god. If he could reach 1/10 of mad god's strength, he would be able to sweep through everything in his life. These words seemed to be directed at Lin Xian, but it also seemed to be directed at everyone present. However, no one refuted him. Because Mad God had proven everything with his strength, Lin Xian was silent for a while after hearing this. He had borrowed 20 Saint crystals from the other party and agreed to return 10 times the amount in 3 months. Now he had more than 600 Saint crystals in his hand, which was enough to repay the other party. However, Lin Xian hesitated now. He did not plan to return it immediately because if he took out 200 Saint crystals now, the other party would definitely realize that he was Mad God. It was better to hide this matter first. Lin Xian bid farewell to the Divine General and left the Sacred Abyss Tower. News of what happened here had spread. In the Sacred Abyss ancient city, the 3 major orthodoxies, the Clan of the Ancients, and the people of the great sects were all paying close attention. They used everything they had to find out who the Mad God was. When Lin Xian returned, he found that many people in the True Path sect were also talking about it. Although most of them had never been to the Sacred Abyss Tower, it did not stop them from being excited. On the Dragon Palace's side, many people gasped when they heard the name Mad God. Should they report it to the Dragon Prince? They felt that a peerless enemy had appeared. At this moment, a figure walked out and said, there was no need to report it to the Dragon Prince. He was only ranked 3,000. The Dragon Prince was ranked 2nd. The difference between the two was like an ant and a dragon. He was not to be feared at all. Hearing this, everyone bowed and greeted Long Ao's Crown Prince. The person in front of them was also a powerhouse of the Dragon Clan and a top genius. His identity was extremely unusual. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty had been passed down since ancient times. Most of its forces were in hibernation and scattered across the universe. It was to preserve the legacy. After all, the appearance of every great emperor was accompanied by countless corpses and seas of blood. After the fall of the great emperor, the forces that were suppressed by the Earth back then were very likely to counterattack. Therefore, the Dragon Emperor had split the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty into several parts, with one part sleeping in the true spirit world. The others were scattered in different parts of the universe. At the same time, one of them remained on the buried Emperor's star. It was the Dragon Sea of the 4 seas. The Dragon Sea was naturally one of the 4 seas. Although it was not as big as the Black Sea, it was still a very terrifying existence. The dragon race naturally existed in the Dragon Sea. This was the branch power of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty that had always been active. They had always been as powerful as the Clan of the Ancients. Before that, the Dragon Prince had successfully awakened. From the true spirit world, countless experts of the dragon race crossed over and descended upon the Dragon Sea. At the same time, the experts of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty from all over the universe arrived. So this is what happened. The Dragon Prince was the young master of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Other than that, Long Hai had the original Dragon Palace master. Of course, he had become one of the most capable subordinates of the Dragon Prince. And this Long Ao is the son of the original Dragon Sea master, so he is also called the Dragon Crown Prince. His status was similar to that of Leaf Doudenier and Radiance and Light. It could be said that in the entire 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, his status was second only to the Dragon Prince. Now, in the Dragon Palace, he naturally meant what he said. Other than the Dragon Prince, his status was the most terrifying. Long Ao said that there was no need to tell the Dragon Prince about this matter. The Dragon Prince only had one opponent, and that was Kunpingzi. The others were not qualified at all. The others in the Dragon Palace said that it was certain. What kind of person was the Dragon Prince? Some people said that although Mad God was powerful, he was nothing compared to the Dragon Prince. Not only that, but he was also far inferior compared to the Dragon Crown Prince. Dragon Crown Prince, you just haven't gone to the Holy Gulf Tower yet. Otherwise, your fame would definitely surpass that of Mad God. Compliments sounded one after another. Long Ao laughed loudly. That was natural. Mad God? I don't care about him at all. Indeed, with his strength and status, he only had two goals in his eyes, the Dragon Prince and Kunpengzi, especially Long Huangzi, who was the goal of Long Ao's life. In addition to the True Path sect, the Heaven sect and the Earth sect were also discussing. The Heaven sect was surprised. They didn't expect such a terrifying expert to appear in the Holy Gulf ancient city. They wondered if he was qualified to challenge Kunpengzi. Some people sneered. What a joke. Kunpengzi had already reached the peak and was crowned as the king of the crown. Even the Dragon Prince was no match for him, let alone a mere mad god. Some people said that he couldn't be underestimated. Although he was only ranked 3,000 now, he had surpassed most of the experts and geniuses. What's more, it was his first time entering the Holy Gulf Tower. Who knew how far he could go in the future? Back then, when the two princes entered the Holy Gulf Tower, they were only a little stronger than him. Everyone was expressing their opinions about the legend of Mad God. Lin Xian had quietly returned to the True Path sect. When he returned to the mansion, Yurun and Nalan Liang came up and said that Lin Gongzi was back. How was it? Lin Xian said that it was okay. Where are Toad and Rizalong? They went out to inquire about the news. Did you know that something big happened while you were away? A guy called Mad God soared into the sky. Now the entire Holy Gulf City is talking about him. Damn, it's amazing. Toad jumped in from outside and said, Mad God is too awesome. The Crimson Dragon also flew over and stared at Lin Xian with a suspicious look. Kid, you died in the Holy Gulf Tower, right? What kind of battle results did you achieve? Hurry up and say it. That Mad God can't be you, right? Nalan Liang and Yurun were stunned when they heard this. Mad God was this Lin Xian in front of them? That's impossible. Although they knew that Lin Xian was very strong. No matter how strong he was, could he reach the level of Mad God? The Holy Gulf Glory list and their stars list were two completely different worlds. Lin Xian said, I didn't expect to cause such a big sensation. Fortunately, I only used a title before. Otherwise, our mansion would have been trampled. It's really you. Toad jumped up. The Crimson Dragon said, I knew it. Who else could cause such a sensation besides you? Nalan Liang and Yurun were completely stunned. This news was like a bolt of lightning to them. It was too shocking. Lin Xian said, All right, it's enough for you to keep this matter to yourselves. You can't tell anyone. Understand? The Crimson Dragon and Toad nodded, but Nalan Liang was puzzled. Why? Brother, if your identity is revealed, the True Path sect will definitely treat you like a treasure. At that time, you'll have all kinds of treasures, all kinds of formations, martial arts, you'll have it all. Chapter 4773. Lin Xian said, The tallest tree in the forest is the first to be destroyed by the wind. Although I'm not afraid of trouble, this time our enemy is extraordinary. For now, I have to keep my identity. Nalan Liang and Yurun were stunned. Enemy? What kind of enemy? Even a terrifying existence like Lin Xian was so careful. Lin Xian looked at the two of them and said, Knowing this won't do you any good. If you don't know, you can still leave my faction. But once you know, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave my faction. Nalan Liang said, Brother, what are you saying? If not for you, I wouldn't have the right to enter the Dao sect. I treat you as a friend and won't retreat. No matter how dangerous it is, I will stand with you and fight together. Good, then we're brothers. Lin Xian nodded and smiled, then looked at Yurun. Yurun said, Lin Gongzi, I don't dare to call you brother, but I admire your strength. I've decided to follow you and be your follower. If there is betrayal, heaven and earth will not tolerate it. Lin Xian smiled. Then we're on the same side. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He knew that his faction was still very weak. Since the Tao sect allowed him to establish his own faction, Lin Xian wouldn't be polite. He would eventually create his own faction to contend with the Dragon Palace, so he naturally needed a lot of helpers. Lin Xian waved his hand, forming an array that sealed the entire residence. He said, "Listen well. Our main goal this time is to eliminate an enemy, and this enemy is the Dragon Prince." What? Nalan Liang and Yuren were stunned. Even though they were mentally prepared when they heard the enemy's name, they were still shocked. The Dragon Prince, that was the Emperor's son. His strength was terrifying, and his future achievements were unparalleled. Who would dare to treat such a person as an enemy? But now, Lin Xian had personally said that their enemy was the Dragon Prince. As for the reason, do you know of someone called Long Guang? Nalan Liang was stunned, but Yuren's pupils suddenly contracted. Since he said it, he naturally knew. Long Guang was an expert of the Dragon Clan. He was very talented and powerful. It was said that his combat strength was above the Dragon Prince. In the Sacred Abyss Tower, he had also reached the 90th level. It was very likely that he would be crowned as the Crown King. It was a pity that he had fallen. Nalan Liang was shocked. Such a person. He had actually fallen. Could it be related to the Dragon Prince? The Crimson Dragon stood out and said, "That's right. It was the Dragon Prince who killed Long Guang. We are here to avenge Long Guang. Not only do we want to kill the Dragon Prince, we also want to destroy his Dragon Palace. Destroy all of their forces." The two of them were stunned. They finally understood what kind of pressure Lin Xian and the others were under. That was the son of a great emperor. He was even going to wage war against the entire emperor clan. Taking a deep breath, Nalan Liang and Yuren said, "Although it's very shocking, we still feel like we're in a dream. But since we have promised, we will never back down, and we will never betray. All right, then let's create our own forces here together." Lin Xian's eyes burst with a cold light. They had a lot of things to do. Now, some of the top geniuses in the entire Tao sect had formed their own forces. Among them, the most terrifying was the Dragon Palace, which accounted for more than half of the geniuses in the Tao sect. It could be seen from the three major lists. There were 52 people on the star list who were from the Dragon Palace. There were 66 people on the Jade list who were from the Dragon Palace. There were 49 people on the Xian list who were all experts from the Dragon Palace. It could be said that the Dragon Palace was too powerful. No one was their opponent. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to let the Crimson Dragon and the Toad challenge the various experts in the Tao sect. They would establish prestige and slowly attract talents. As for him, he would look for other families and sects to cooperate with. After all, if he really killed the Dragon Prince, he would have to face the anger of the entire Emperor clan. He had to find many allies. The group of people quickly discussed in the mansion. They discussed what to do in the future and decided what to call this force. The Toad said, "Aren't you from the Heavenly Court? Let's just call it the Heavenly Court." The Crimson Dragon said, "Why don't we ask Long Ting to go against the Dragon Palace?" The two of them talked for a long time. Then they looked at Lin Xian and said, "Kid, you decide." Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He said, "I'm from the Immortal Burial. I'll definitely walk the divine path in the future. This time, we'll get rid of many experts and geniuses from the sects and families. Let's call it the Divine Union, the Alliance of Gods." Divine Union. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad whispered to each other. Then their eyes lit up. "All right, let's call it that. From now on, our mansion will be called the Spiritual Mansion." After a few discussions, the Divine Union was established. At first, there were only 5 of them, including Lin Xian. However, in the future, they would definitely grow to be a supreme existence that could go against the Dragon Palace and even sweep the world. On the other side, Baizhen had returned. He had messed up previously and was afraid of being punished by the Dragon Palace. Therefore, he had quickly found a mission and carried it out. Now that he had returned, he was very careful and prepared to return to his mansion. He thought about how to find an excuse. Should he ask his sister to plead for mercy? He returned to the mountain range in a very low-key manner. When he saw the changes in the mansion, he was shocked. He was stunned. Spiritual mansion? That's not right. Isn't this my mansion? Baizhen was stunned. He seemed to think that he had come to the wrong place. However, after some investigation, he realized that he was right. This was his mansion. Since when did the name change? Could it be? With a cold snort, he rushed in. However, a bolt of lightning struck him out. Damn it, even the array had changed. He had a bad feeling. Could it be that someone had forcefully occupied his mansion? In the mansion, Nalan Liang frowned. Someone was attacking the array. He rushed out immediately. Who dared to behave atrociously in the spiritual mansion? The next moment, Baizhen was stunned when he saw Nalan Liang. Nalan Liang was equally stunned. It's you. You're finally back. Brother Dragon, Brother Toad, Brother Lin, Baizhen is back. Nalan Liang roared. His voice was like thunder. Immediately, Lin Xian and the others who were cultivating opened their eyes and rushed out. You're finally back. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a biting cold light. The toad and the crimson dragon also had cold smiles on their faces. Baizhen's face was completely black. He shouted a few times and realized that the old butler and his battle servants did not come out. In other words, these people were no longer there. As for his residence, it was also occupied by these people. Thinking of this, he was furious. He shouted angrily, "Damn it! Do you want to die? How dare you behave atrociously in my mansion? Kneel down and accept your death." A terrifying killing intent bloomed from his body. Chapter 4774. Hearing this, the toad, the crimson dragon, and the others all sneered. Even Nalan Liang and Yurun had strange expressions, especially Yurun, who had followed Baizhen before. Before, he would definitely be worried about Lin Xian, but now he didn't care at all. Compared to Lin Xian, Baizhen was really too far away. Damn it, what are you laughing at? Seeing these people sneering, Baizhen felt his hair stand on end. He stared at Yurun and shouted coldly, "You dare to betray me? Get over here." Yurun shook his head and said, "Baizhen, you should obediently kneel on the ground and kowtow to Lin Gongzi and apologize. Otherwise, no one can save you." Apologize to him? What a joke. Today, I'll let him know how powerful I am. Baizhen snorted coldly. Brat, you don't really think you can contend with me, do you? Previously, in the trial grounds, I suppressed my cultivation. That's why you guys had the upper hand. Now that I'm using my true strength, you're not my match at all. He snorted coldly, and a terrifying aura bloomed from his body, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Lin Xian shook his head. You're too weak. I'm not interested. Toad, teach him a lesson. The toad jumped out. Come, I'll teach you how to be a human. Damn toad. Go to hell. Baizhen turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over. He was already prepared to make a move. Even if he couldn't kill these people, he had to cripple them. However, he was wrong. Even the toad was not someone he could contend against. Divine Toad Fist. One fist after another was swung, carrying an extremely terrifying poison as it charged towards Baizhen. Baizhen was originally filled with killing intent, but after 3 moves, his expression became incomparably ugly. Divine Toad Voice. The toad roared, and the terrifying toad voice was released. Baizhen's blood and chi rolled, and his ears bled as he fell from the sky. Damn it, what's going on? He couldn't even beat a toad? Just you wait. He turned around and wanted to escape. Want to leave? Heaven transformation palm. The crimson dragon sneered and slapped the incoming dragon claw, which turned into a sky and sent him flying. Boom. Bai Jun coughed up another mouthful of blood as he flew backward, his body shattered. He landed on the ground, right in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian stretched out a foot and stepped on the other party's head. Now, you still dare to be arrogant in front of us? Bai Jun was so angry that he vomited blood. He was really crazy. How could these people be so strong? How should he deal with this brat? Why don't we just kill him? The dark red dragon arrived. Bai Jun was terrified. You can't kill me. The Tao sect had a rule that disciples of the same sect could not kill each other. Toad kicked Bai Jun's face. You know the rules of the Tao sect. You've tried to kill us time and time again. How dare you use your status to suppress us? He said that we should get a mansion and resources. After saying that, he used the giant toad slap technique to slap Bai Jun. Bai Jun was completely beaten into a pig's head. Stop hitting me, sirs. I said, please let me go. Bai Jun had no backbone at all. After being tortured, he started begging for mercy not long after. I was wrong. I shouldn't have deducted your resources. I shouldn't have given you a mansion where you can't cultivate. Let me go. I'll definitely compensate you. I'll definitely compensate you. We think that this mansion of yours is pretty good. We won't leave. Bai Jun coughed out a mouthful of blood. This mansion was given to him by his sister. His sister was an expert on the jade board. That was why she could have such a good mansion. Otherwise, with his status, he wouldn't have the qualifications to be here. Toad, Nalen, the two of you, follow him and take back the resources that belong to us. Then, the three of them flew into the sky. Not long after, they went to the Tao sect's place where the resources were managed. Bai Jun personally changed the resources for them. Then, they returned with their share of resources. Although they were newcomers, their strength was extraordinary. So, they were given a lot of resources every month. After returning, Bai Jun said, "Can you let me go now?" Lin Xian sneered and handed over his storage ring. Bai Jun gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to hand it over. Then a golden light flew out of Lin Xian's eyes and heavily injured his soul. Bai Jun's soul was heavily injured and almost destroyed. He was in a state of near death. Then Toad used poison to cover his entire body. His organs and foundation were all damaged. Bai Jun wanted to die. Even if he had heavenly treasures, he wouldn't be able to recover in a short time. Scram! The crimson dragon slapped him away. Bai Jun turned into a stream of light and disappeared. It's a pity that I didn't kill him. The crimson dragon retracted its claws and said with gritted teeth. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. It was better not to break the rules in the Tao sect, but since he was out of the Tao sect, his life and death would be up to fate. Toad sneered. I understand. It seemed that they had to pay attention to Bai Jun's movements. Once he went out, they could secretly kill him. Bai Jun was sent flying and landed in the forest. He endured the injuries all over his body and flew unsteadily toward the Dragon Palace. He shouted, "Senior Brother Zilu, save me!" The Dragon Palace occupied many spirit veins in the Tao sect. There were forests and mountains everywhere. At the front was the area ruled by Lon Zilu. At this moment, Lon Zilu opened his eyes. The other cultivators in the Dragon Palace also frowned. What was going on? They walked out one after another. In the next moment, they saw a figure fall from the sky. He was covered in blood. His aura was very weak. Who was this person? They looked over. Then, they were shocked. It was Bai Jun. What happened? How did this guy become like this? Lon Zilla frowned too. He wanted to teach him a lesson, but he didn't expect him to be here to ask for punishment. Did he think that he could avoid punishment after injuring himself so badly? Lon Zilu asked coldly. Baizhen said, Senior Brother Zilu, I was wrong before. I accept the punishment, but I didn't injure myself. It was Lin Xian. He was the one who injured me. He robbed me of my residence and beat me to a pulp. He even said that the Dragon Palace and Senior Brother Zilu were trash and couldn't withstand a single blow. Damn it. The people from the Dragon Palace were instantly enraged. Lon Zila's face also darkened. Although he knew that Baizhen might have exaggerated, he didn't care anymore. However, he did not care because he did not allow anyone to challenge the Dragon Palace. Senior Brother Zilla, I'm going to suppress him. Someone stood out, his eyes shining with a cold light. The others also looked cold. Damn brat. It's time to teach him a lesson. Go. Let him live. Bring him here, and let him accept his punishment. Kneel outside the Dragon Palace. I want everyone to know the consequences of going against the Dragon Palace. Lon Zilla's voice was cold. Yes, we know. The three of them sneered. Then they turned into rays of light and rushed into the distance. At the divine talisman, Lin Xian and the rest started to set up arrays. They formed spirit-gathering arrays one after another. They combined the resources they obtained with the underground spirit veins and started to cultivate. Chapter 4775. You guys cultivate. I'll go out and take a look. Lin Xian said. The plan had already been made. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad would be in charge of the sect, while he would be in charge of things outside the sect. Of course, Lin Xian didn't leave the sect, but went to the library. He was going to take a look at the absolute arts here. The library was a special place called the Magical Arts Valley. Lin Xian was a new disciple, so he had an extra chance to look at it at the beginning. Other than that, if he wanted to look at it in the future, he would have to complete some missions. For the first time, Lin Xian didn't need any missions, so he chose to look at the Dapeng seal. He entered the Magical Arts Valley. He saw a figure casting a seal. His palms formed a seal and turned into a Dapeng, dancing between heaven and earth. The Dapeng soared into the sky. The Dapeng spread its wings. Its power was vast and terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes shone with golden light. At the same time, the dragon sword spirit evolved and started to cultivate the Dapeng seal. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon and the rest were cultivating in the spiritual abode, absorbing the energy of heaven and earth and the aura of the spirit vein. At this moment, the heaven and earth shook, and the array outside shook violently. At the same time, there was a cold snort. Those inside, come out and face your death. A cold voice sounded. The Crimson Dragon opened his eyes, and the Toad jumped out. Who's courting death again? They all rose into the air and looked outside through the array formation. They saw 3 figures standing outside. Their auras were surging like gods and demons. Oh no, it's them. Yuren also flew up. When he saw the 3 people outside, his pupils shrank. Brother Dragon, Brother Toad, these 3 are very powerful. They are also experts on the stars ranking, and their rankings are much higher than Baizhen and Mo Duxing. Are they experts on the stars ranking again? And they seem to be from the Dragon Palace. Why are you here to help Baizhen kowtow and apologize? Then hurry up and bow. The Crimson Dragon waved his hand. Courting death. The 3 people outside were Qin Yen, ranked 77th on the stars ranking. Xia Shan, ranked 75th on the stars ranking. Lu Ha, ranked 72nd on the stars ranking. The 3 of them looked cold. Since you dared to challenge the Dragon Palace, come out and accept your punishment. What about that Lin Xian? Tell him to come out and face his death. You want to challenge us with just you? The Toad sneered. I'll only use one hand. The Crimson Dragon's expression was also cold. It seemed that it was time to show his strength. The 3 of you scram. Listen carefully. 3 days later, In the primordial battlefield, we will challenge you. You want to challenge me? They laughed complacently. What a joke. No matter how strong Longiu was, he only dared to challenge someone ranked 90th. The three of them were all ranked in the 70s. They were much stronger than Tai Xintian. Could these newbies really contend against them? Qin Yan's face was gloomy and cold. He was about to make a move when he felt that Yi Futian did not know what was good for him. However, Lu He stopped him. It was fine. He would give them 3 days. 3 days later, he would defeat them in front of the world. Don't you think it's more interesting? Let's see if they still have the face to continue living then. Okay. Qin Yan smiled as well. Enjoy the last 3 days. 3 days later, it will be the day of your death. The three of them sneered and left. After returning to the Dragon Palace, they explained the situation. Lan Zilu also nodded. Very good. He would take this opportunity to severely injure or cripple them. At the same time, he sent someone to spread the news. It would be best if everyone could watch. In just 1 day, the news of the newbies' challenge spread again. Someone challenged the 7 years 3. Countless people were shocked. Who was it? They were so reckless. Could it be Lan Jiu again? No, it wasn't Lan Jiu. It was Lin Xian and the others. They wanted to challenge Lu He and the others. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard this. Were Lin Xian and the others really going to make a move? Great. They couldn't miss it in 3 days. In the Dragon Palace, in the Spirit Mountain, Lan Jiu opened her eyes. Were Lin Xian and the others going to challenge Lu He? She didn't think that the three of them could succeed. At this moment, she had already joined the Dragon Palace and became a member. She had condensed the aura of the Tao of Dragon. She felt that she had become even stronger. There was no need to watch the challenge in 3 days because she felt that the outcome was already decided. It was better to continue cultivating. When the time came, she would directly challenge the top 50 on the stars ranking and become famous. In the magical abilities valley, Lin Xian was still comprehending the Great Rock Seal. He didn't know what was happening outside. But even if he knew, so what? He wasn't worried. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad were very strong. Soon, those people would know. 3 days passed quickly. On the primordial battlefield, countless people had gathered. They were discussing and guessing the outcome of the battle. The people from the Dragon Palace walked over. They sneered. There was nothing to guess. Those people would definitely die. No one could defeat the Dragon Palace. That was true. More than half of the true Path Sex geniuses had joined the Dragon Palace. With such strength, who would dare to challenge them? You're too confident. Say that after you succeed. In the sky, the Crimson Dragon and the others descended. There were 3 of them. The Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and Nalan Liang. Yurun was in charge of guarding the place. You guys really dared to come. Qin Yan looked at the Crimson Dragon and sneered. He frowned. Just the 3 of you? Where's that Lin Xian? Don't bother looking for him. He won't come because the 2 of us are enough to kill you guys. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad walked out. This time, it was the 2 of them who would fight. Only the 2 of them. The surrounding people were in an uproar. Lin Xian wasn't coming again. A sneer was heard. It seemed that this guy really used despicable means to get first place. That's right. He didn't even dare to participate. On a mountain peak, Bai Zhen gritted his teeth. That brat wasn't coming, but it was fine. He would deal with the 2 of them first, and then deal with Lin Xian later. Cut the crap. The Toad jumped out and looked at the 3 people in front of him. Are the 3 of you coming together or one by one? I definitely won't hold back. Do I need the 3 of us to deal with you? I'll do it. Qin Yan walked out. He was ranked 77th on the stars list. He stood with his hands behind his back and flying swords circled around his feet. He said coldly, I'll give you a chance. Make the first move. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. How dare you look down on me? You'll end up miserable. The toad sneered and used the lightning technique. He turned into a stream of light and appeared instantly. Then he used the big toad slap technique and slapped Qin Yan's face with both palms. Qin Yan's face was instantly smashed. He flew out and blood dripped from the sky. He roared crazily, "Damn it, go to hell." With a roar, thousands of sword lights flew out from his body. The surrounding people exclaimed. They didn't expect Qin Yan to suffer such a big loss. But on second thought, he must have been careless. Next, the toad was really going to die. Chapter 4776. Why didn't you give me a handicap of 3 moves? Why are you attacking so soon? Toad sneered. Trash who doesn't keep his word. Trash. Qin Yan snorted. I take back my words. I don't need to show mercy to trash like you. Go to hell. Sword manipulation technique. Qin Yan used his soul to control the sword aura. It was a terrifying sword manipulation technique. No wonder he was ranked 77th on the stars list. He was much stronger than Bai Zhen and Mo Duxing. Toad moved quickly like lightning and dodged the sword manipulation technique. Then he slapped his palm down. One of Qin Yan's arms was smashed into a bloody mist. Then Toad spat out poisonous gas into Qin Yan's body. Qin Yan was shocked. He didn't expect Toad to be so strong. When he wanted to fight back, it was too late. The poison exploded in his body. His body turned black, and he fell to the ground. He was bleeding from all his orifices. Toad stepped on Qin Yan's face and sneered. You want to fight with me? You're not qualified. The surroundings were silent. What happened? The battle was over. That was too fast. Was there even 3 moves? Damn it. Xia Shan rushed over. The people from Dragon Palace looked cold. They checked and exclaimed. He was poisoned and deeply poisoned. Treat him immediately. Soon, the people from Dragon Palace carried Qin Yan away. Xia Shan walked out with a cold face. How dare you use poison? Despicable. Toad sneered. What's wrong with using poison? There are thousands of da's. Poison is one of them. How is it despicable? If you're not strong enough, admit defeat. Count out to me 3 times and call me ancestor. Then I'll let you go. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. This Toad was too arrogant. However, they were shocked. Toad was very strong. Being able to defeat Qin Yan was enough to show how strong he was. However, Xia Shan was even more terrifying. Could the Toad succeed? On the mountain peak in the distance, the Crimson Dragon and the others sneered at the scene. Little White was also hugging a spiritual fruit and squeaking. Toad, come on, defeat them. I'll give you fruits to eat. Don't worry, I'll kill him in 2 moves. Toad turned around and waved his hand. Xia Shan shouted. He waved his hands, and the ground cracked. Endless rock hands flew out. He was an earth sage. The Toad kept dodging as it sneered. You're no match for me. He spat out a poisonous mist that filled the sky. Xia Shan had long since been on guard. He unleashed countless shields and earth walls to defend himself. At the same time, he formed a seal with both hands, the seal of myriad mountains. Tens of thousands of mountains descended from the sky, suppressing the heavens and the earth, covering the entire battlefield. The Toad was also suppressed. It was over. The people of Dragon Palace laughed. Bai Zhen also revealed a sinister smile. He had finally dealt with one of them. Xia Shan snorted. Qin Yan lost because of his carelessness. Otherwise, how could he have won? Ouch. It hurts so much. You've angered me. Toad, attack. Amidst the mountains that filled the skies, a figure appeared. He turned into a stream of light and charged over, piercing through the countless mountains. How could this be? Xia Shan's pupils shrank as he formed seals with both of his hands. An endless wall was formed in front of him to block the attack, while 6 shields surrounded him. The strongest defense. Boom. The toad was also using an ultimate skill. It pierced through countless obstacles and landed on the 6 paths shield. The 6 shields were shattered, and Xia Shan's body was torn apart. Damn it, Xia Shan retreated. His broken body healed, but his face was extremely pale. Defeated again. Countless people were shocked. This toad was too powerful. It had defeated 2 experts in a row. The toad jumped up and waved in all directions. Fairies of the Tao sect, I'm still single. I'll stay in the god manner. Fairies who like me must come and find me. How could this be? Nalan Liang was stunned. The people of Dragon Palace were furious. Damn it. They wanted to use this battle to suppress the other party. Who would have thought that they would be the ones losing face? Xia Shan, come back. I'm impressed. Lu He walked up. He was ranked 72nd, and his strength was even more terrifying. The toad jumped back. The Crimson Dragon walked up. Was there a change? Countless people were shocked. Lu He snorted. Why was the toad afraid of death? Crawling snakes would also die. The Crimson Dragon roared. Your whole family is the crawling snakes. Its body enlarged, turning into a 100-meter-long divine dragon that swept across the heavens and earth. It was actually from the dragon race. Countless people were shocked. How could the dragon race fight against the people of Dragon Palace? They were too surprised. Lu He roared. I have the aura of the Tao of Dragon too. There were indeed a few auras of the Tao of Dragon on his body. They rushed out, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, turning into dragon shadows. The Crimson Dragon sneered. You want to fight against Ben Wong with just your aura of the Tao of Dragon? He activated his divine dragon blood, and those few auras of the Tao of Dragon directly collapsed. Lu He's face turned pale, and he took a few steps back. Damn it. It seemed that it was impossible to use dragon energy in front of the other party. Then he would use his ultimate skill, Galaxy Blade Light. A blade slashed out, turning into a galaxy that descended from the sky. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Dragon Blade. Countless scales formed a dragon blade that also slashed out. The 2 blades collided, shattering the heavens and earth. The primordial battlefield was also surging. After one attack, the Crimson Dragon put away the dragon blade. Lu He's body was cut in half, and he was seriously injured. You can't even withstand a single blow. You want to challenge us with your strength? Are the people of Dragon Palace trash? Countless people were in an uproar. Did the battle end with one slash? This dragon is too strong. Is he challenging the dragon race? What feud does he have with Dragon Palace? Countless people were shocked. Impossible? Baizhen was horrified. Lu He was also defeated. This group of people was actually so strong. No wonder he wasn't a match for them. The people of Dragon Palace also had gloomy faces. The 3 experts they sent out had actually failed one after another. This was a complete slap to their face. Do they still want to fight? A few people were discussing. The situation was unexpected. These 2 guys were very strong. Moreover, Lin Xian hadn't appeared yet. Let's go back and report to Senior Brother Zillow first. The people of Dragon Palace took the injured Lu He and the other 2 and left. Toad sneered. Go back. What Dragon Palace? They're just as oh. Let's go. The Crimson Dragon snorted. This was considered a small test of his skills. He wanted to let the people of Tao sect know that they weren't to be trifled with. Whoever dared to find trouble with them in the future would have to weigh their own strength first. Both sides returned, but this matter had spread far and wide. Countless people exclaimed in admiration. The newcomers who had entered this time were truly too strong. First, it was Lan Jiu who succeeded in her challenge. Now, it was a divine dragon and a toad who succeeded in their challenges one after another. In an instant, everyone felt a sense of pressure. At the same time, Some people were discussing, what about that Lin Xian? Would he be stronger? The atmosphere in Dragon Palace was a little stifling. Lonzilla's face was gloomy. Did all three of them fail? He really didn't dare to believe it. Lonjiu also came out of Spirit Mountain. When she heard the news, she also took a deep breath. How could this be? The other party actually defeated Lu Ha and the other two and obtained a higher ranking than her. She gritted her teeth, turned around, and entered Spiritual Mountain again. If she didn't break through this time, she wouldn't come out. Next time, she would challenge those ranked in the top 50. Chapter 4777. In the Magical Abilities Valley, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He had mastered the Seal of Dapeng. If others knew about this, they would be stunned. This talent was too heaven-defying. The previous geniuses had spent a lot of time cultivating the Seal of Dapeng, but Lin Xian was much faster than them. Of course, part of the reason was that Lin Xian was very talented. The other reason was because of the Dragon Sword Spirit. The great Dragon Sword Soul was able to deduce these divine arts, which was why Lin Xian was able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. After leaving the Magical Abilities Valley, Lin Xian browsed through many ancient books in the Tao sect. He knew that there were many sacred places in the Tao sect. Not only that, but there were also sacred places in the Holy Abyss ancient city. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to go to the places where the ancient sages had gone to gain some insight. The Holy Abyss ancient city was huge, and there was a place called the Holy Cliff. It was said that this was the place where many ancient sages went to gain enlightenment. There were even legends that said that the ancient super powerhouses had fought a shocking battle here. Therefore, although the Holy Cliff was full of opportunities, it was also extremely dangerous and filled with endless killing intent. At the Holy Cliff, there were two figures. One was a white-haired old man. The other was a beautiful woman. The old man's face was dark. His body was stained with blood, and it was obvious that he was injured. The woman in black looked anxious. Both of them carried black giant swords on their backs. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Duga Xiaoyi was very anxious. "Wait until we get back to the family to cure you." Duga Su sighed. "I'm old and useless. This time, I fell into their trap and got poisoned. But don't worry, I won't die anytime soon." Someone was coming. Duga Su frowned, and a cold sword light appeared in his eyes. Duga Xiaoyi was nervous, and she clenched her fists. Was the enemy chasing after them? There were low footsteps in front of them, and then a figure appeared. Duga Xiaoyi and Duga Su looked over. They were stunned. They realized that it wasn't the enemy they expected, but a handsome young man in a black robe. His eyes were even more profound. Who was this? Was it a new enemy? They looked over, and when they discovered that the other party was only a middle-stage Saint King, both of them let out a sigh of relief. Even if such a person was an enemy, they would not be afraid. From the looks of it, the young man did not seem to be an enemy at all. The young man looked around curiously as soon as he arrived, as if he had come specifically for the Holy Cliffs. Duga Su retracted his gaze and said in a low voice, "There was no need to bother. The Saint Cliff was the place where the ancient sages descended. It was normal for people to come here to gain insights." As he spoke, he took out a large battle robe from his storage ring and covered his body to cover his blood. Duga Xiaoyi also sat down cross-legged and pretended to cultivate. However, she was actually vigilantly observing her surroundings. Was this the Saint Cliff? As expected, there was a mysterious aura. Lin Xian looked around in surprise. He had heard about the uniqueness of the sacred cliffs and had rushed over. After arriving, he felt that there was something unusual about this place. At the same time, he also saw two figures in front of him. Both of them carried huge swords on their backs. They seemed to be swordsmen. What surprised him was that the old man in front of him was not simple, but his aura was very weak. Although the old man was trying his best to suppress it, there was still a black aura on his face. He had been poisoned. Although he was wearing a battle robe, Lin Xian could still tell that the old man was injured. For a supreme sage to be so severely injured, it seemed that there must have been a great battle before. Retracting his gaze, Lin Xian did not continue to pay attention. He found a place and sat down cross-legged to gain insights. Duga Xiaoyi heaved a sigh of relief. The other party was not coming for them. Dugas's expression also eased a lot. He took out a pill and swallowed it. However, the poison in his body was very strange. He could only suppress it for a while, but could not expel it. As night fell, starlight fell from the sky. This made the St. Cliff even more magical, forming a unique vision of heaven and earth. Lin Xian was naturally happy about this. He came here to gain insights. However, Dugas's face was cold. He was afraid that the poison would act up again tonight. While Duga Xiaoyi was guarding him tightly, a sneer came from the sky. So you've been hiding here. However, even if you're at the St. Cliff, do you think we can't find you? Two voices were heard. Then, two people landed and sealed the surrounding area. Oh no! The enemy is here. Duga Xiaoyi stood up abruptly, her expression changing. Dugas's eyes also shone with a shocking light. The two prides of the heavenly sect, you've chased me all the way here. There were two figures. One was wearing armor. The other was wearing a sword robe. They looked young and were top geniuses. Moreover, they seemed to be from the heavenly sect. They were geniuses from the heavenly sect. Duga Xiaoyi's pupils shrank. She had heard of these two people before. They were top experts on the heavenly sect's profound ranking. The one in armor was called Blue Demon, while the other in a sword robe was called Saber 9. Both of their abilities were terrifying. Duga Xiaoyi was no match for them at all. Of course, her grandfather was not afraid of these two people. However, that was when he was at his peak. At this moment, her grandfather was seriously injured and poisoned. He could not even use 1% of his strength. Facing these two people now, it would be dangerous. Is the heavens going to kill me? A look of despair appeared in Dugusa's eyes. Duga Xiaoyi looked around. Their surroundings were sealed. There was no way to escape, let alone hope for help. Suddenly, she saw a figure at the foot of the mountain in the distance. The man was sitting cross-legged, still cultivating. She sighed. If the other party was also a top powerhouse, that would be great. Even if they could not defeat him, he could help them escape. Unfortunately, the other party was only a mid-stage holy ruler. He could not help them at all. He could not even escape. After the two prides of the heavenly sect landed, they looked around to see if there were any traps or enemies. Southern Demon looked at the foot of the mountain in the distance, surprised. Was there another helper? Saber 9 glanced at him and chuckled. He was probably here to cultivate. There was no need to pay attention to him. Southern Demon said, "How can that be? We can't let anyone know that we're here. Since he's here, he can only blame himself for being unlucky. How about this? We'll kill him together later." The two of them did not hide their conversation at all. Obviously, to them, Lin Xian was just a holy ruler. He was no different from an ant. It would be easy for them to kill him. Duga Su sighed. "Forget it. I have nothing to say if the heavens want to kill me. Come at me if you want. However, this young man has nothing to do with me. He's only here to comprehend. Let him go. Also, let my granddaughter go. The thing you want is with me." Chapter 4778. Senior Dugu, how impressive. However, do you still think you're the clan leader of the Duga clan? You're already severely injured. What right do you have to order us around? Saber 9 scoffed. Southern Demon chimed in. Don't even think about letting anyone escape. You'll definitely die. This brat is unlucky. He'll go to hell. As for your granddaughter, she's so beautiful. We definitely won't kill her easily. The two of them laughed out loud, pleased with themselves. Duga Xiaoyi's face was pale, her eyes filled with despair. Duga Che roared angrily as well. Since you don't agree, don't blame me. for fighting to the death. He roared and his aura erupted. However, the next moment, he spat out a mouthful of black blood. His body swayed, and he fell to the ground. Ha ha ha! Both Saber 9 and Southern Demon guffawed. You want to fight to the death with us in your current state? Do you have what it takes? As they spoke, the two of them walked forward. Duga Xiaoyi was in despair. She gripped the sword in her hand. Even if she died, she would not let these people have their way. Duga Che sighed. Xiaoyi, it's my fault. You shouldn't have come with me this time. At the same time, Duga Su looked into the distance and sighed. Young man, it's my fault. I hope you don't blame me. He gritted his teeth as soon as he finished speaking. Even if he died this time, he would drag Duga Che with him. Southern Demon and Saber 9 walked forward. One of them reached out a large hand to grab Duga Xiaoyi while the other charged at Duga Su. At the same time, Saber 9 waved his hand, and a sword Qi charged at Lin Xian in the distance. Lin Xian opened his eyes abruptly. A cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. To be honest, Lin Xian did not care about the previous battle at all. As he did not know either party, he did not care. However, Duga Su was truly kind. Duga Su wanted to protect Lin Xian even when he was about to die. Lin Xian was very touched. Moreover, these two heavenly sect geniuses were too arrogant. They wanted to kill Lin Xian while he was studying them. Since that was the case, Lin Xian could not leave them be. He waved his hand and tore the incoming sword Qi to shreds. The next moment, he said coldly, "Both of you get out of here, or you'll die." When the Southern Demon saw that the two of them were stunned, the giant hand in the sky stopped. Someone dared to meddle in their business. Who was it? So reckless? Up ahead, Duga Xiaoyi also opened her eyes. Did an expert come to save them? Duga Su also had a sliver of hope. However, when they saw that the person who spoke was Lin Xian, they despaired. Duga Xiaoyi also said, "This fellow should have used this opportunity to escape. Why did he still dare to come?" Saber 9 smirked. "I thought some expert had arrived, but it's just a mid-level holy ruler brat. Do you know who we are? How dare you meddle in our affairs? We are from the Sky Sect and are on the Sky Sect's profound ranking." The Southern Demon harumphed coldly as well. Initially, he had wanted to deal with these two before giving Lin Fan a quick death. But since that was the case, he would let Lin Fan have a taste of a fate worse than death. He struck out with his palm. They were just ants in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. They could just kill them. The two of them were peak existences. A black palm with terrifying flames and monstrous demonic Qi slammed over. Not good. Duga Xiaoyu despaired. Even a peak stage Saint King would not be able to block this attack, let alone a mid-stage Saint King. Boom. With a single palm strike, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Black demonic Qi erupted and enveloped the entire area. It was over. The Southern Demon turned around, intending to continue attacking Duga Su. However, he was stunned the next moment. A voice came from behind again. "Is this all that the Sky Sect's profound ranking has? What trash! What? You're not dead." The Blue Demon was stunned and turned around abruptly. Beside him, Saber 9 was stunned as well. How is that possible? He was well aware of the Blue Demon's abilities. With this attack, the other party would definitely die. How is he still alive? Even Duga Xiaoyi and Saber 9 were stunned. Could this young man be an expert? "Brat, who exactly are you?" Saber 9 asked coldly. He felt that this brat before him was very strange. Lin Xian said coldly, "Initially, I did not intend to meddle in your affairs, but you even want to kill me. In that case, go to hell. Are you threatening us? You must be tired of living." Saber 9's expression darkened. "There's no need for you to live." In a flash, he charged over. He struck with his sword. No one among the Saint Kings could match the strike. A golden glow erupted from Lin Xian's eyes. A pair of heavenly gods' eyes appeared. He looked down on all life. Everyone felt an immense soul suppression. At this moment, it was as if their souls were about to split apart. How terrifying! Duga Xiaoyi felt as if her soul was about to be destroyed. A terrifying glow erupted from Dugu Su's eyes. How is this soul energy possible? Similarly, Saber Nine's pupils dilated. This soul energy was too powerful. He could not resist it. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. The golden eyes in the sky released reincarnation aura, directly piercing through his soul. With a loud boom, his long sword fell to the ground. Saber Nine's body fell as well. His aura was gone. What's going on? The blue demon was stunned. Despair filled his face. Is Saber Nine dead? What kind of power is this? This soul. Are you a supreme saint? Impossible. Isn't your opponent a mid-stage Saint King? How can you possess a supreme saint's soul? Could it be that your opponent is an old monster? Has his power been suppressed? At this thought, the blue demon was horrified. He turned around and fled. Trying to leave? Lin Xian sneered. The light of reincarnation shot out from his eyes, directly piercing through his opponent's soul. Lin Xian's pupil technique was extremely powerful. Moreover, he was not holding back at all. Therefore, there was no way his opponent could resist this attack. The blue demon's soul was instantly destroyed. There was despair in his eyes. He should not have ignored this person. However, he no longer had the right to regret. His body fell to the ground. His soul was destroyed. Is he dead? Duga Xiaoyi was stunned. The two top geniuses in front of her, powerhouses on the profound ranking, had died just like that. She felt as if she was dreaming. One should know that these two people from before had made her and her grandfather feel despair. They had even thought of perishing together. However, they could not block the other party's gaze. What's going on? She looked at her grandfather. Dugasu also took a deep breath. He walked forward unsteadily. Thank you for your help, fellow cultivator. How should I address you? Duga Xiaoyi was stunned. Her grandfather was a supreme saint. Moreover, he was the clan leader of the Duga clan. His status was extremely noble. Even when facing top geniuses, he was still an elder. However, at that moment, her grandfather was actually addressing this young man as someone of the same generation. In fact, he was even speaking with incomparable respect. She found it unbelievable. However, when she thought of Lin Xian's terrifying gaze, she understood. The person in front of her could not be judged by his age or cultivation base. He was an extremely terrifying powerhouse. Chapter 4779. Duga Su was also shocked. He could not see through the young man in front of him. He was a middle sage king, but had the soul of a great sage. His attacks were swift and decisive, killing in one strike. Such a person was really rare. Perhaps only those few people in the legends could do it. Lin Xian looked at him and smiled. Senior, you're too polite. Senior's kindness and righteousness were admirable. How should I address you, little friend? My name is Lin Xian, a disciple of the True Path sect. Lin Xian. Dugu Su started to recall, comparing him to those legendary experts. He realized that he had never heard of the name Lin Xian. However, he was from the True Path sect. Could he be a hidden genius of the True Path sect? No matter what, he had to befriend this person. Young master, you're an expert of the True Path sect. I'll remember your kindness in saving my life. Senior, you're too polite. Lin Xian smiled. Suddenly, he reached out to grab Duga Su. Duga Xiaoyi was shocked. What's going on? Is he going to attack me? Duga Su's pupils shrank. However, he was stunned in the next moment. He realized that Lin Xian had shot out a ray of sword qi into his body and destroyed the poison. Then he retracted it. Lin Quan retracted his hand. The poison in Senior's body was terrifying. It must be a terrifying poison. I've destroyed some of it, but you'll have to go back and recuperate. So he's helping her grandfather suppress his injuries. Duga Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. However, her grandfather was helpless against this poison. Can he do it? Dugusa's body trembled. His face was filled with shock. He felt that the threat of the poison had been greatly reduced. In other words, more than half of the poison in his body had been eliminated in that instant. That was too terrifying. This young man's methods were simply heaven-defying. Thank you, young master, for helping. Dugusa looked at Duga Xiao and said, Come over and thank me. Duga Xiao also walked over and said, Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for saving me. It's nothing. I still have some things to do. I'll leave first. Lin Xian nodded and turned to leave. Looking at his back as he left, Duga Xiao asked Grandpa, Is he really that powerful? Have you recovered by more than half? Duga said, That's right, he's too terrifying and too mystical. We must befriend this person. How great would it be if he were a genius of our Duga clan? Duga Xiao was shocked. Although they were in danger today, the Duga clan was still a top-notch clan. How many experts and geniuses were there in the sect? Could it be that none of them were a match for him? Seeing Duga Xiao's confusion, Duga Su sighed. You still don't understand his strength. He had completely surpassed Southern Demon and Saber 9 from before. My guess is that he's already a great sage. More importantly, I've checked before, and he's indeed a mid-stage Saint King. Do you think an ordinary genius can achieve such heaven-defying battle prowess? He had already surpassed the scope of a genius. This time, Duga Xiaoyu was truly stunned. Previously, she had thought that Lin Xian was suppressing his cultivation, but now it seemed that he was not in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. However, he possessed the battle prowess of a great sage. How many realms had he crossed? Perhaps even her disciple was only at this level. Duga Su took a deep breath. He said that he would send a message to the clan and get the clan's elders to come and settle the matter here. Duga Xiao nodded and began to form a formation to send the message. This time, they had to send experts from the clan to protect them. Otherwise, even if they managed to avoid this crisis, they would probably be in danger again. Lin Xian returned to the True Path sect, spiritual abode. He wondered how the Crimson Mountain Dragon and the others were doing. After returning, he found out that the Crimson Dragon and Toad had already challenged the experts on the new ranking list. They had successfully slapped the Dragon Palace in the face. His lips curled into a cold smile. This was just the beginning. Next, these two would probably continue to sweep the ranking list. On the other side, in the Dragon Palace's Spirit Mountain, Lan Jiu opened her eyes. She stood up and gritted her teeth. Lin Xian, Humph, I'll let you know how big the gap between us is. Previously, she had successfully challenged the 90th person, but Lin Xian had instantly challenged the 72nd person. And he had succeeded. The gap between the two sides had widened. Countless people were discussing that Lin Xian and the others were more powerful geniuses. How could Lan Jiu tolerate this? She decided to personally meet this Lin Xian and then have a duel with him and defeat him directly. This way, everyone would know the gap between the two sides. At the same time, two figures appeared in the sky outside the Holy Abyss City. They stood on the spirit boat and looked at the Holy Gulf City. Their lips curled into a smile. This ancient city, that guy must be inside. The two figures on the boat were a man and a woman. The woman was extremely beautiful and had a noble temperament. It was as if nothing in the world could compare to her, especially his eyes. There were green flames dancing in them that could burn the 9 heavens. The man of Murong Qingcheng, Lin Xian, I'd like to see what's so special about you. The mysterious woman snorted with disdain in her eyes. It was just an exaggeration. The man beside her was tall and strong. His eyes danced wildly with a domineering aura, as if he didn't care about anything. He said, "How can you believe Morong Chingching's words? Besides, she's different from us. We were born in the top clans, but she came from a small place. She was only lucky to obtain a heaven-defying bloodline. How high could her standards be back then?" The geniuses in her eyes are probably no different from ants in our eyes. The Chingcheng they were talking about was naturally Morong Chingcheng. The two people's identities were also extremely unusual. The mysterious woman was called Qing Feng, a genius of the Phoenix clan. The burly man beside her was an expert of the Tianpeng clan, called by Li Fei. Although the Tianpeng clan wasn't an emperor clan, they were still very terrifying. Rumor had it that there was a Tianpeng Bolong. It could be said that the Tianpeng clan was an extremely powerful divine beast clan. The Tianpeng clan had a top genius of this generation. He met Morong Chingcheng again by chance and fell in love with her. However, Morong Chingcheng's heart belonged to someone else, and she didn't care about him. Later, he found out that Morong Chingcheng's lover was someone called Lin Xian. He was very angry about it. Therefore, he sent people from his clan to find out what Lin Xian was like. If he was weak, he would kill him directly. Morong Chingcheng had the Phoenix bloodline, so she must have a close relationship with the Phoenix clan. Therefore, this time, the Phoenix clan also sent a proud daughter of the heavens to explore together with them. Their target this time was Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't know that he was still cultivating in the True Path sect. Chapter 4780. The two of them entered Holy Abyss City. With their strength and identity, they easily found out where Lin Xian was. He had joined the Dao sect. It seemed that he was quite strong. Qing Feng's eyes flashed. Bai Li Fei sneered. The difference in strength between the disciples of the Dao sect was huge. The strongest one was the emperor. The weakest one couldn't even block one of his attacks. He was probably at the bottom. The two of them headed to the Dao sect. They went to look for Lin Xian. In the end, they found out that Lin Xian didn't leave the Dao sect. Did he go on a mission? Qing Feng frowned and asked. However, he didn't get the same answer. No one knew where he went. Qing Feng found someone to ask about his performance after entering the Dao sect. The result was disappointing. After this guy came, his whereabouts were very mysterious. No one knew where he was cultivating. Moreover, he didn't fight for any rankings. He wasn't even on the stars ranking. I told you, he's nothing to be afraid of. Bai Li Fei snorted. Qing Feng sighed. It seemed that Chingcheng had bad taste. The genius in her eyes was just SOL. Forget it. Let's not bother about him. Let's go play in the ancient city. This was the primeval city. There were many relics of the sages here. The two of them left the Dao sect. Lin Xian was indeed not in the Dao sect. He went back for a few days and then left again. Lin Xian went to other relics of the sages to browse and comprehend. Today, he returned. He found many people outside the Dao sect. What happened? He looked over. There was a woman standing in front of him. She had a huge sword on her back and was extremely beautiful. The appearance of this woman attracted the attention of many Dao sect disciples. Someone exclaimed, "What a beautiful woman!" Her stunning appearance wasn't any weaker than Fairy Lan Ziyu. She even had her own characteristics. Could it be that she was here to look for him? Lin Xian was shocked. Thinking of this, he walked forward. At this moment, a figure stopped him. "You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for many days. I thought that you wouldn't dare to come back." Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned and looked in front of him. There was a woman in blue standing in front of him. Although she was also very beautiful, she was still a beauty. However, he wasn't happy at all. It was Lan Ziyu. "What do you want?" Lin Xian asked coldly. The surrounding Dao sect disciples exclaimed, "What a beautiful woman! Look, it's Fairy Ziyu." Countless people looked over. Who was the person standing beside Fairy Ziyu? How unfamiliar. Although Lin Xian came in first place, he kept a very low profile after coming in. So, most people didn't know who he was. Are you free now? Lan Jiyu asked coldly. Lin Xian asked, Are you inviting me? When the surrounding people heard this, they were all stunned. It can't be. Who is this person? How could Fairy Jiyu personally invite him? Lin Xian, Lan Jiyu said, You can think of it that way too. I think it's time for a duel between us. I'll let you prove my strength. Challenge me? Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. You're not qualified yet. I'm not free. I'm very busy. Not just anyone can challenge me. With that, Lin Xian walked to the side. The surrounding people were all stunned. Oh my God. Did this person reject it? Someone actually rejected Fairy Ziyu. How big of a heart is that? Hearing this, Lan Ziyu's face turned ugly. Since when has anyone dared to reject her? Humph, if you're a coward and don't dare to compete with me, then just say it. I can let you go. Lin Xian sneered. He really wasn't interested. His target was the people on the Holy Gulf list. He really didn't care about the stars list. Lin Gongzi, you're here. At this moment, the woman with the giant sword on her back turned around and revealed a beautiful smile. The people around them were all staring at the scene. What's going on today? Two beautiful women had arrived. Moreover, did these two peerless beauties come for the same man? They noticed that the beautiful woman with the long sword on her back was also walking towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, So it's Miss Dugu. I wonder what you're here for. Dugu Xiaoyi. With a beautiful smile, she tilted her head and said, I'm here to look for you, Lin Gongzi. You helped us so much before, and we haven't thanked you properly. Today we'll treat you to a meal. Come. Thank you. Okay, I happen to have time. Lin Xian smiled and nodded. Lan Ziyu said, Didn't you say you don't have time? She gritted her teeth so hard that they were about to break. Lin Xian glanced at her and said plainly, I just don't have time to fight with you. With that, he didn't look at her again. Lan Ziyu's face was terrifyingly dark. Damn it, was she ignored? Or was she not as beautiful as her? She stared at Dugu Xiaoyi. Dugu Xiaoyi also turned her head and stared at her. The two beautiful women had a biting cold aura in their eyes. Dugu Xiaoyi said, Lin Gongzi, is this person disrespectful to you? Do you need us to make a move? No need. She's just a self-righteous woman. There's no need to pay attention to her. Lin Xian shook his head. Let's go. Dugu Xiaoyi waved her hand, and a golden chariot flew over. Pulling the chariot were two beasts, snow-white lions. They were mighty and extraordinary. Lin Xian and Dugu Xiaoyi rose into the air and left in the golden chariot, leaving behind a group of envious gazes. Quickly go and find out who this person is. He should be from our Tao sect. Damn it! When did such a famous genius appear in our Tao sect? In their opinion, Lan Ziyu must have been jealous of a beautiful woman. In the end, Lan Ziyu lost. This was an earth-shattering event. Countless people quickly investigated, and the news spread throughout the entire Tao sect. Lan Ziyu's face turned green. Damn it, it's not like that. She only wanted to challenge him, but she was really ignored. White Crane Tower. The entire 7th floor was booked. Several figures sat inside. One of them was a middle-aged man with a cold expression. He frowned. He still hasn't come. That kid doesn't take us seriously. This time, they weren't waiting for an important elder or patriarch of a clan of the ancients, but for a young man. And he actually made them wait for so long. This middle-aged man was naturally unhappy. What kind of status did the Dugu clan have? They would never wait for someone for so long. If it wasn't for the old man, he would have left long ago. This middle-aged man was not ordinary. He was an elder of the Dugu clan and the old man's son. His name was Dugu Hai. It turned out that after Lin Xian left that day, Dugu Xiaoyi had hurriedly sent a distress signal to the clan. Soon, The Duga clan sent experts to protect the old man. This Dugahai was specially sent to protect him. Chapter 4781. Dugahai was ranked 16th among the old man's sons. He was also Dugu Xiao Yi's 16th uncle. He was considered young, but his strength and talent were very strong. He was already at the peak of the Saint King realm. He was only one step away from the great Saint King realm. Within 300 years, he could become a great saint. This was a very proud thing for the Duga clan. Therefore, he was usually very arrogant. Except for his elders, he didn't care about others. Now that he had to wait for a young junior, he was naturally unhappy. When old man Duga heard this, his face sank. He looked at Dugahai and said, "16th brother, remember this. Although he is young, he has the combat power of a great saint. He is a top genius, close to the emperor's son. So treat him with the same respect as you treat me. Do you hear me? If you dare to offend him and cause our Duga clan to have no chance to make friends with such a genius, don't blame me for being rude to you." Dugahai said helplessly, "Father, I know." Although he said so, he still didn't believe that a middle-stage Saint King had the combat power of a great saint. What kind of joke was this? He had to take a good look later. Outside the White Crane Tower, the golden chariot stopped. Duga Xiaoyi walked out and looked at Lin Xian and said, "Lin Gongzi, please." Lin Xian nodded. He didn't expect to come to the White Crane Tower again. The first time he came, he had a conflict with Baizhen. Now, he was invited by the Duga clan. He went up to the 7th floor of the White Crane Tower and found that it had been booked. There were only these few figures. Old man Duga was sitting there. When he saw Lin Xian, he immediately stood up and walked over. He said, "Lin Gongzi, I am so happy that you can come to my banquet." Dugahai also stood up and looked at Lin Xian. He found that Lin Xian was indeed a middle-stage Saint King. Did such a person really have the combat power of a great saint? He didn't feel any dangerous aura from Lin Xian, so he looked down on him even more. He felt that Lin Xian was just exaggerating. Lin Xian looked at Dugu Su and smiled. "Senior Dugu is too polite. You are an old senior. How can I dare to accept that? By the way, are your injuries better?" Old man Duga said as he pulled Lin Xian to sit down. "It's much better now. Thanks to Lin Gongzi, you acted in time. Otherwise, the poison in my body wouldn't have been removed so quickly." At this moment, Dugahai walked over and said, "Lin Gongzi, my name is Dugahai. Thank you for saving my father." Lin Xian looked at him and nodded slightly. Then he looked at old man Dugu again. Dugahai was taken aback. Wasn't the other party a little too arrogant even after finishing his attack? His expression was somewhat gloomy. Actually, in Lin Xian's opinion, the other party wasn't even a great sage, so he really wasn't worth paying attention to. During the banquet, old man Dugu and Lin Xian chatted as they drank. The atmosphere was very harmonious. Old man Duga said, "I really don't know how to repay you. Here are some cultivation resources. Please accept them." After saying that, Duga Xiaoyi stood up and took out a storage ring. There were 1,000 drops of dragon marrow, 5 million caddies of divine crystals, and 2 sage ruler-grade weapons. It could be said to be quite generous. Even a peak sage ruler would be envious, let alone a mid-stage sage ruler. However, Lin Xian's expression was calm. He said, "Old man Duga's words are too serious. I didn't save you for these things, so I can't accept them." Duga Xiaoyi was stunned, but Dugahai sneered in his heart. In his opinion, Lin Xian was just pretending and would accept them in the end. However, he was wrong. Lin Xian really didn't intend to accept them. He had saved Dugahai for 2 reasons. He felt that being on good terms with Dugahai would be of great help to the divine union. In the future, they could make the Duga family their ally. Therefore, he really didn't care about these resources. Could it be that Lin Gongzi felt that it was too little? "I can let them prepare. Old Man Duga said. Lin Xian shook his head. I'm really not senior. If you really think highly of me, then be friends with me. Who knows, I might need your help in the future. Then, this old man will teach you. If you need my help in the future, just let me know. The Duga family will definitely not decline. Thank you, senior. The banquet continued. Not long after, a figure hurried to the 7th floor, reporting to the family. What's going on? Old Man Duga frowned. Didn't they say that no one was allowed to disturb them? Xiao Yi, go and take a look. Duga Xiao Yi stood up and walked outside. However, not long after, she returned with a pale face. What's wrong? Old Man Duga frowned. Duga Xiao Yi said. It was Duga Lei. He seemed to have gotten into trouble outside. Xiao Lei had always been like this. Duga Hai didn't mind. He said that they could just send their subordinates to settle it. Their Duga family was considered a big family. There was nothing that they couldn't settle. However, Old Man Duga frowned. Old 16, if it's so simple, do we need the subordinates to tell us? The other party must have a big background. Xiao Yi, tell us the details. Duga Xiao Yi nodded. Grandfather was right. The person that Brother Lei offended this time was indeed not simple. It was someone from the Tianpeng family. Tianpeng family. Old Man Duga was stunned. Even Duga Hai sucked in a breath of cold air. Although the Tianpeng family wasn't an emperor family, they were still a divine beast family. They were very powerful and much more terrifying than them. Duga Hai's face changed. Previously, although he was arrogant, it was only towards ordinary people and sections. He had no chance of winning against the Tianpeng family. Their Duga family was completely inferior to the other party. It seemed that they had to lower their heads this time. Duga Hai said, since it was like this, then let Little Lei apologize to the other party. If it really didn't work, then they would fork out some resources and settle it peacefully. The subordinates reported that Little Lei had already settled it like this, but the other party didn't agree at all. They seemed to want Little Lei to kowtow and apologize. What? Duga Hai stood up. What kind of joke was this? Kowtow and apologize? This wasn't just Duga Lei's matter. It was their Duga family's matter. Although the other party's family was powerful, they couldn't be so arrogant. Who was the other party to the Tianpeng family? If it was just an ordinary disciple, they would really dare to fight. The other party was the Tianpeng families by Li Fei. What? Hearing this, Duga Hai was stunned. Even Old Man Duga stood up abruptly and said with gritted teeth, this Duga Lei really didn't have eyes. It was fine if he was arrogant normally, but he actually offended the Tianpeng family. Was he really tired of living? He had heard of the name by Li Fei before. Although the Tianpeng family wasn't in Holy Abyss ancient city, it was still very famous. All the families had to pay attention to it. Bai Li Fei was a top genius in the Tianpeng family. Offending such a person, that was courting death. Chapter 4782. Yes, Grandpa, what should we do? Duga Xiao Yi was also anxious. Old Man Duga said, there's no other way. Looks like I have to personally apologize to them. Let's go quickly. If we're late, Duga Lei might be killed. Old Man Duga stood up and said, go prepare the carriage. At the same time, he looked at Lin Xian and said, Lin Gongzi, I'm sorry. I wanted to continue chatting with you. But now it seems that I can't. Our Duga clan has a useless grandson. Something happened. I have to go and deal with it. Lin Xian said, I'll go with you. Maybe I can be of help. He wanted the Duga clan to be his ally. Then he had to show enough value. Previously, he saved Old Man Duga, but he felt that it wasn't enough. He wanted to go and take a look. Maybe he could completely subdue these people. Is that true? That's great. Thank you, Lin Gongzi. Old Man Duga's eyes lit up. With a young expert like Lin Xian, there might be a turning point. The group quickly set off. Duga Xiaoyu was also happy. However, Dugahai was disdainful. Even their Duga clan couldn't deal with it. What could a young man do? In his opinion, the other party was just pretending. Spirit Void Valley. It was a very famous place in Holy Abyss ancient city. There were spirit veins everywhere. There were even a few sages who came here. At this moment, there were many figures standing in the valley. These figures were all outstanding and had powerful auras. Moreover, there were terrifying flames on their bodies. All kinds of flames could burn the 9 heavens. Among them, there were 2 figures that were abnormally terrifying. One was a woman in green with terrifying green flames around her body. The other was a tall and sturdy man in battle armor. There was also a faint golden flame on his body. It condensed in his palm. These 2 people were Qingfeng and Bai Lifei, who came to Holy Abyss ancient city. The 2 stood there like gods and devils. Opposite them was a young man with a huge sword on his back. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with fear and terror. At the same time, he looked outside the valley from time to time. He had already notified his clan. Why didn't the Duga clan send people over? If he still didn't come, his fate would be miserable. Finally, just as he was about to lose all hope, he saw a low light shining in the sky. There was also the sound of roaring. Duga Lei's eyes lit up. He saw a few chariots flying over with the Duga family's emblem on them. He jumped up and clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with excitement. Great, now that the people from his family had come, he no longer had to fear these 2 people in front of him. In the valley, the others also saw that and turned around. Even Qingfeng and Bai Lifei frowned and looked into the distance. In the distance, the war chariot stopped and several figures walked out. There were old men, middle-aged men, and young men. Is Grandpa here too? Duga Lei's eyes were filled with excitement. Great, he could finally take revenge. Thinking of this, he snorted proudly. Old Man Dugu and the others quickly landed after they arrived. Grandpa, you're finally here. Help me teach them a lesson. Duga Lei ran over and shouted loudly. In the end, what she received was a slap from the old man. Old Man Duga sent Duga Lei flying with a slap. Duga Lei spun a few times in the air before landing on the ground. His teeth were broken. He said in horror, Grandpa, why did you hit me? We're the enemies, aren't we? Useless trash you don't even know how to cultivate. You only know how to cause trouble and make enemies for your family. Do you know who you've provoked this time? Old Man Dugu was so angry that his whole body trembled. It was fine if he provoked other rogue cultivators, but this time he provoked the Tianpeng family. Was that someone the Duga family could provoke? Duga Lei was terrified. Could it be that he had kicked an iron plate this time? Thinking of this, his face turned even paler. Old Man Duga snorted coldly. See how I'll deal with you when we get back. Then he looked forward. In front of him, 2 people stood there with cold smiles on their faces. It was as if they were watching a show. Old Man Dugu took a deep breath. These 2 people were too extraordinary. Their auras were terrifying, especially that flame. It was extremely precious. Even a great saint might not be able to get it, but it appeared in the hands of 2 young men. He took the lead to look at the burly man. He was tall and had a violent aura. His gaze was indomitable. He should be from the Tianpeng family. Who was the girl in green next to him? She must have an extraordinary background to be able to stand side by side with the Tianpeng family. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath. He waved his hand, and Duga Hai walked up with a smile. This should be the peerless genius of the Tianpeng family, Prince Bai Lifei. He had long heard of Prince Bailey's name. Now that he had met him, he was indeed worthy of his reputation. Duga Hai smiled and went up to greet him. However, Bai Lifei stood with his hands behind his back and looked coldly. He had no intention of paying attention to him. This scene made Duga Hai's expression stiffen. His smile became a little ugly. This guy was too arrogant. Although the other party was from the Tianpeng family, his identity was not weak either. The other party actually ignored him. Although Dugahai was angry, he did not dare to act out. After all, they were at a disadvantage this time. In the valley, the other people's identities were not weak either. They were either from the top families, top sects, or people from the orthodoxies. At this moment, they were looking at the scene in astonishment. They naturally knew about the Duga family, but they did not know about the two young geniuses in front of them. Now that they saw it, they were shocked. To be able to make the Duga family bow their heads, they definitely had an extraordinary background. Moreover, they heard about the Tianpeng family. Could these two people be from the Tianpeng family? They were extremely shocked. Dugahai was ignored. Old man Dugu also sighed. It seemed that he had to take action personally. He walked up and said, "Prince Bailey, this grandson of mine is useless. I don't know how he offended Prince Bailey. I want him to apologize to Prince Bailey." This time, Bailey Fei finally spoke. "So it's the Duga family. This grandson of yours is too daring. He actually dared to have ideas about my friend. I taught him a lesson, and he actually wanted to get the experts of his family to kill me. How do you think we should settle this score? On account of old man Dugu, I can spare his life. However, let's see what your Duga family can take out." Dugahai's face changed when he heard this. Could it be that the other party wanted to extort them? Old man Duga's eyes were also gloomy. Dugalay stood up from behind and said, "He's talking nonsense. I didn't want to kill them. I just saw that the girl was extremely beautiful and wanted to get to know her. They were too domineering." Chapter 4783. Old man Duga didn't say anything and just turned his head. His cold gaze caused Dugalay to kneel on the ground, not daring to say anything. He knew that he had caused a disaster today. Old man Duga turned his head and looked at Bai Li Fei with a cold look in his eyes. He asked, "What does young Master Bai Li Fei want? I'm a very reasonable person, and I don't want much." Bai Li Fei stretched out a finger and said, "Give me a world." "What? A world?" Hearing this, the surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air. The Duga family's people were even more stunned. In the myriad worlds, they were a peak clan in the buried Emperor Star, the most important world. He had many other planets and worlds in his hands. These stellar worlds either did not have any saints, or they possessed extremely important metal or sources, or various other precious resources. Generally, the top clans would have a few such worlds in their hands. But now, even the Duga family wouldn't agree to give away one. "What?" Bai Li Fei said with a smile. "Could it be that you think that your grandson's life isn't worth a world? Since that's the case, there's no need for me to hold back." Old man Duga's face turned completely cold. Beside him, Dugahai was also furious. His expression was ferocious as he roared, "Bai Li Fei, don't go too far. I was polite to you before, because you're from the Tianpeng family. But if you continue to be arrogant, don't blame me for suppressing you. With just you." Bai Li Fei's face was filled with disdain. His 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed forward. It was like a world cage. The surrounding space was constantly shattering. "Damn it, you dare to look down on me?" Dugahai shouted angrily. He pulled out the huge sword on his back and slashed down. The entire world seemed like it was going to split open. Boom, boom. Intense explosions sounded out as the huge sword broke into 2. Dugahai vomited blood and was sent flying. A terrifying crack appeared on his body. "A mere Saint King dares to be arrogant in front of me?" Bai Li Fei withdrew his palm and sneered. "How is this possible?" Countless people cried out in alarm. Old man Duga's pupils shrank. Although the person in front of them wasn't a great saint, he had the battle prowess of a great saint, a peak genius. This time, the Duga family had kicked an iron plate. In this golden age, Their Duga clan did not have such a genius. Perhaps they would be defeated in the future. His heart was filled with despair. However, when he saw Lin Xian beside him, he took a deep breath. Bai Lifei was at the peak of the Saint King realm, and he had the battle prowess of a supreme saint. However, Lin Xian was even more shocked. Lin Xian was only a middle-stage holy king, but he had the battle prowess of a great sage. Wasn't this even more terrifying? Thinking of this, he became even more determined to win over this young man. At this moment, Dugahai also stood up shakily. His face was extremely pale. The sword Dao Law on his body was rapidly repairing the cracks. Damn it! His expression was sinister, teeth clenched, but he didn't dare make another move. Even with his all-out attack, he still couldn't block a single palm strike from the other party. The gap between them was actually so big. Old man Dugu raised his head, looked at the other party, and said, "Young Master Bailey, my grandson is in the wrong in this matter, but you're asking for too much in this world." "Why do you think it's too much? It seems that your grandson is indeed not worth a world. In that case, I'll send him to hell." He looked at Dugulay. Dugulay trembled on the ground in fear. He was about to faint. He exclaimed, "Grandpa, save me." He didn't want to die. Old man Duga's face was cold. His hands clenched tightly in his sleeves. Was he going to make a move? Although he was a supreme saint, the other party had the Tianpeng clan behind him. Could he bear the wrath of the Tianpeng clan? "I've changed my mind." At this moment, Bai Lifei's lips curled into a smile. The people of the Duga clan heaved a sigh of relief. Great, they saw hope. However, in the next moment, they fell into the abyss again. It's a pity to kill him. It's better to cripple him and let him become a cripple from now on. I really want to see how an ant can survive in such a world of martial arts. Speaking of this, his palm was like a knife slashing forward. This strike would probably shatter Dugulay's meridians and foundation. He wouldn't be able to cultivate anymore, and would become a cripple. No, Dugulay was in despair. If he became a cripple, he would rather die. Old man Duga's pupils constricted. He wanted to make a move, but it was too late. The other party was too fast. Just when everyone thought that Dugulay was finished, a hand grabbed the other party's hand knife. A deep voice rang out. It was like 100,000 claps of thunder. Bai Lifei's palm was pushed back, shattering the void. He also took 2 steps back. His eyes suddenly shone with a shocking light. Who was it? Was it the Duga clan's leader? Qing Feng was also stunned. Was the Duga clan so reckless? She looked forward as well. Soon he was stunned. He realized that old man Duga didn't make a move. Instead, it was a young man. He glanced at this person. He came with the Duga clan. However, he had been standing to the side without saying a word. He thought that the other party was just a servant. But now, it seemed that wasn't the case. Bai Lifei also looked over. The light in his eyes was like a heavenly knife. It made Dugahai's hair stand on end. However, Lin Xian was completely unaffected as he stood there. Bai Lifei was surprised that the other party could withstand his gaze. It was really surprising. "Who are you? Why are you interfering in my business?" Lin Xian looked at Bai Lifei in front of him and sighed. He said, "Let me apologize, and this matter will be over." Everyone in the valley was stunned. They looked at the figure in surprise. Who was the other party? How dare he challenge Bai Lifei? Could it be that he had a powerful background? No way, right? When did the Duga clan have such an expert? Why have we never heard of him? Everyone's eyes were filled with curiosity. Bai Lifei's face darkened. He smiled. "I didn't hear what you said." "Kid, how dare you order me?" Lin Xian said. "It's not an order, it's a warning, because it won't do you any good if you continue." Bai Lifei was stunned. Was he threatening him? He was the top genius of the Heavenly Rock clan. He grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. His bloodline was super strong, and his talent was terrifying. He had always been the one who defeated everyone. No one dared to offend him. Now, there was someone younger than him who wanted to give him advice. Even old man Duga didn't dare to challenge him. Who was this person? Qingfeng was also surprised. It had been a long time since he saw someone challenge Lin Xian. He looked at Lin Xian curiously. This person's cultivation was so weak. Where did he get his confidence from? Chapter 4784. What if I continue to attack? Bai Lifei took a step forward, and a terrifying domineering aura surged from his body. The pressure of his bloodline appeared, and caused everyone in the valley to turn pale. Lin Xian sighed. I've already given you a warning. If you continue to attack, you'll be courting death. Bai Lifei was so angry that he laughed. I haven't met such an arrogant person in a long time. Brat, I won't let you die so easily. A terrifying, killing intent surged from his body and swept through the 9 heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Duga Hai's expression also changed. He shouted angrily. Damn it! They had already offended the Heavenly Rock clan. If this brat completely enraged them, the Bai Lifei clan would really be finished. Was this brat trying to get them killed? Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to Duga Hai. A cold glint appeared in his eyes. His opponent was indeed an expert who could arouse his interest. He also stood out, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. Heavenly Rock Clan? I haven't experienced it yet. If you want to attack, then come. Let me see if you have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me. What's your name? I don't kill nameless people. Bai Lifei shouted coldly. In his opinion, his opponent should be a very famous expert. Lin Xian smiled. If you can defeat me, then you can know my name. Otherwise, you don't have the qualifications. You're arrogant, but you don't have a brain. Go to hell. Bai Lifei was completely enraged. Qingfeng, who was beside him, also shook his head and sighed. He admitted that Lin Xian was brave, but he didn't have a strategy. If he angered Bai Lifei in such a situation, he would end up in a miserable state. He could already predict what was going to happen next. Therefore, he shook his head. He hadn't been in Holy Abyss ancient city for long, and he had already met so many people who didn't know their place. On the other side, Bai Lifei had already attacked. He threw out a punch. It was like a meteor shooting towards the front. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people in the valley quickly retreated. This Bai Lifei was extremely terrifying. He wasn't someone they could fight against. If they were hit by his battle aura, they would probably be seriously injured. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian wasn't afraid at all. He formed a hand seal, and the great rock seal flew out. Boundless golden light flickered as the divine fire condensed, forming a golden rock that flew out. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out as the Sky Peng's palm was blocked. Bai Lifei was stunned. The other's pupils also shrank. Was that a rock? Could it be that this fellow was specifically challenging Bai Lifei? Bai Lifei's expression was somewhat ugly. His eyes were filled with a biting cold, killing intent. He was a sky rock, yet the other party had used the great rock seal to resist. What was the meaning of this? Was this a slap to his face? Indeed, a terrifying wave of power erupted. The image of a heavenly Peng appeared behind him, fusing with his fist as he directly attacked. This power was many times stronger than before. Clearly, he was angry. Lin Xian sneered. The seal of the great rock continued to be activated. The great rock seemed to have come alive. The flames on its body suddenly erupted and directly rushed over. The two sides clashed, causing the heavens to fall and the earth to split. A wave of power rushed into the 9 heavens. Did he block it? Qingfeng was also surprised. That guy was able to block the Sky Peng's attack. In other words, he also had the battle prowess of a great saint. Bai Lifei was also shocked, although he also had the battle prowess of a great saint. The two sides were different. He was at the peak of the Saint King realm. His opponent was only at the middle stage of the Saint King realm. His opponent was 2 cultivation levels lower than him, but his strength was actually not weaker than his. This was too heaven-defying. Those legendary imperial princes were nothing more than this. Could it be that this fellow was also an imperial prince? Who exactly are you? Bai Lifei roared crazily. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Since you attacked, you should also have a taste of my attack. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. The power of reincarnation was released, forming 2 reincarnation tablets that attacked. With a loud bang, the heavens and earth were suppressed. Everyone felt as if their souls were about to be torn apart, as if they were about to be sucked into reincarnation. Bai Lifei's soul was injured, and he kept retreating. His face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, what was this technique? Why did he feel as if he was facing a god just now? He was injured, and he could not believe how proud he was. Ever since he was born, other than a few specific people, he had never been defeated. But now he had been defeated by someone younger than him. Furthermore, he still didn't know who his opponent was. But his opponent's strength and soul were really too terrifying. Beside him, Qing Feng's eyes burst out a shocking light. She stared at Lin Xian. This fellow was really out of her expectations. She did not expect Saint Origin Ancient City to have such a miraculous person. At the back, the people of the Duga clan were also stunned. Duga Xiaoyi's beautiful eyes were wide open. This was a peerless genius. Compared to Lin Xian, the geniuses from the clans that she had seen before were really too weak. Lin Xian was facing the top genius of the Heavenly Rock clan, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. In fact, he had easily crushed his opponent. At the side, Dugahai was also sweating cold sweat. Previously, his father had told him that Lin Xian was a peerless genius, but he did not believe it at all. He thought that the old man was exaggerating. But now, he saw Lin Xian's strength with his own eyes, and his hair stood on end. Thinking about how he had mocked and ridiculed him before, he felt a burst of fear. Was such a person someone he could offend? Lin Xian was only a middle Saint King, and he was already so terrifying. If he became a great saint in the future, how terrifying would he be? If there were no accidents, such a person would be comparable to a great emperor when he grew up. Old Man Duga's eyes shone with a startling light. He was now even more determined to do his best to befriend Lin Xian. He knew that his grandson was fine. He shouted coldly, "Hurry up and thank Lin Gongzi." Duga Lei was dumbfounded. Hearing his grandfather's words, he also came back to his senses. He quickly went to Lin Gongzi and thanked Lin Gongzi for saving his life. To be honest, he was a little afraid of Lin Xian. Because Lin Xian was more terrifying and powerful than Bai Lifei, such a person was not someone he could offend. "Young master, please follow me back to the family. I will definitely treat you well," Old Man Duga said with a smile. Lin Xian looked at him and said, "Old man, you guys go back first. I still have something to do here." "All right, then we will go back first. Young master, be careful. If you have any difficulties, you must tell me. Our Duga family will definitely do our best." Then the people of Duga family left. Lin Xian stood there and looked around. The people in the valley were whispering. They looked at Lin Xian with respect. Although it was a short battle, it showed how powerful and terrifying Lin Xian was. Probably no one dared to provoke him again. Bai Lifei did not attack again, because he knew that the opponent was very strong, even stronger than him. He would only be at a disadvantage if he went up again. He gritted his teeth. He must find out who the opponent was. Chapter 4785. Qing Feng's beautiful eyes flickered. Interesting. I have to send someone to find out who he is. The two of them didn't know that the person standing in front of them was Lin Xian, the person they wanted to meet this time. What kind of expression would they have if they knew? Seeing that Lin Xian didn't leave, Bai Lifei gritted his teeth. He didn't want to stay here any longer. After all, he had been slapped in the face by Lin Xian, so he said, "Qing Feng, let's go." However, Qing Feng didn't have any intention of leaving. She said, "Why don't you go back first? I'll stay here for a while." As she spoke, her lips curled into a smile as she walked forward. This young master is really strong, but he looks very unfamiliar. Which clan is he from? The smile on Qing Feng's face made the world lose its radiance. She was beautiful, but she was usually very arrogant. Only a few people could make her smile like this. At this moment, Lin Xian also had the qualifications to do so. Qing Feng's origin was very terrifying. She came from the Phoenix clan, which was an emperor clan. She had seen too many geniuses. Strong people like Bai Lifei, who had the battle prowess of a great sage at the peak of the Sage King realm. But for sage kings like Lin Xian, who had the battle prowess of a great sage, it was really rare. Even if there were, they would be imperial princes and princesses with the bloodline of great emperors. Others couldn't be compared to them. But this Lin Xian in front of her didn't seem to be an imperial prince. This made her curious. "If you want to know my identity, shouldn't you tell me your background first?" Lin Xian glanced at her and said indifferently, "I'm Qing Feng from the Phoenix clan." Phoenix. Lin Xian was surprised. Suddenly, he thought of Qingcheng. He wondered how that girl was doing. Murong Qingcheng also had the Phoenix bloodline, and it was an extremely special seven-colored phoenix. If she met someone from the Phoenix clan, would she be in danger? Thinking of this, he sighed and turned around to leave. The smile on Qing Feng's face froze. She was stunned. What did he mean? Was he ignoring her? She didn't dare to believe it. She had never felt this way. Who was she? She was the proud daughter of Heaven of the Phoenix clan. Since she was young, there were too many young geniuses who were pursuing her, who dared to ignore her. But now, someone had done it. Damn it, could it be that this fellow is blind? For the first time, Qing Feng doubted her own appearance. Could it be that this guy is doing this on purpose to make me angry and disturb my state of mind? She frowned and looked carefully. She wanted to see how long this guy could keep up the act. However, she realized that she was wrong. Following that, Lin Xian did not bother about her at all. Instead, he began to carefully explore the Void Valley. Moreover, he kept praising it. As expected of the place where the ancient sages came from, it was indeed extraordinary. Damn it, was he really being ignored? Qing Feng gritted his teeth and wanted to argue with him. She wanted to ask him why he was ignoring her. However, at this moment, a rainbow flew over from the distance. There was a figure standing on it, causing countless people to look over. The aura it carried was too mysterious and terrifying, to the point that everyone felt their bloodlines being suppressed. So scary, a top-notch expert has come. Everyone took a deep breath. Qing Feng's eyes lit up. She also felt the suppression from her bloodline. Who was it? She found it hard to believe such a person. When she saw the figure in white on the rainbow, Qing Feng was stunned. It was her. It was actually him. Had he also come here? The eyes of the young geniuses in the valley lit up. She was a beautiful fairy. Her temperament was otherworldly. It was as if she came from the immortal world. Someone walked up and revealed a handsome smile. Where did this fairy come from? How should I address her? Another person waved his fan and smiled. Fairy, are you here to comprehend the Spirit Ruins Valley? I'm familiar with this place. Why don't I introduce you? Figures surrounded her. On the rainbow, the figure in white said calmly, My name is Yen Ruyu. I come from the Demon Emperor Mountain. Demon Emperor Mountain? Countless people were shocked. Even Qing Feng and Bai Lifei of the Heavenly Rock clan gasped. This place was not ordinary, especially the name Yen Ruyu. It shocked them even more. The other party's background was too extraordinary. However, no one knew her exact identity. It seemed to be a mystery. Lin Xian was also stunned. It was her. He had not gone to the Demon Emperor Mountain to find her. He did not expect her to come herself. There was always a layer of mist around her that he could not see through. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's lips curled up, sword qi surrounded his body, forming a ray of light that covered his respectful face. He had to test her strength later. If she recognized him, it would be difficult for him to make a move. In front, Yen Ryu stood on the rainbow and said in a deep voice, "I've reached a bottleneck in my flame cultivation. I heard that the Spirit Ruins Valley has a connate spirit fire. I'm fated to obtain it. I wonder who can help me. I'm willing to be your helper. If I'm willing, I won't refuse." Many people spoke up. Yen Ryu shook her head. One person was enough. Whose flame was the strongest? Once she said that, everyone stopped talking. Whoever dared to claim to be the strongest would be attacked by the crowd. However, at this moment, a cold shout was heard. "I'm the strongest." With that, a figure flew over like a heavenly rock. By Li Fei. Many people felt their scalps go numb, although they had lost the chance to get close to Yen Ryu, who dared to go against Bai Li Fei, the people of the Heavenly Rock race. Yen Ryu was slightly surprised. She then nodded. "It seems that they are afraid of you. That's fine too. Just give me a hand." With that, he waved his hand, and a green flame appeared in his hand. It turned into a green lotus that bloomed continuously. A terrifying heat surged out. Everyone felt that their bodies were about to melt as they retreated. The Heavenly Rock's pupils shrank. In the next moment, he roared and formed his own pale golden flame to resist. It formed a flaming armor that blocked the power of the green lotus flames. Lin Xian's divine flame was still circling around. It seemed to be fearless. He did not make a move immediately. Instead, his eyes flickered. The Spirit Ruins Valley did have a connate spirit fire. However, it was very mysterious and difficult to find. "Let's begin." Yen Ryu waved her hand, and the green lotus flame flew over, floating in the entire valley. Bai Li Fei used his own flame to form a golden heavenly rock that soared between heaven and earth. The two flames kept sweeping around, trying to find the connate spirit fire. Gradually, a blurry image appeared between heaven and earth. It seemed to be the shape of a cauldron, but it was too blurry and could not be seen clearly. Everyone held their breath. Was the Spirit Ruins cauldron and the connate spirit fire about to appear? Many people were shocked. Yen Ryu's eyes also burst out with a shocking light. She looked at the blurry image and said in a low voice, "It's not enough. Continue." As he spoke, more green flames flew over. Chapter 4786. Green lotuses bloomed all over the valley. Everyone retreated to the edge of the valley because the pressure was too strong. Bai Li Fei's face turned pale. Should he continue? To be honest, he couldn't keep up. His opponent's strength was beyond his imagination. However, he didn't want to lose face in front of Yen Ryu, so he clenched his teeth and continued. However, the power of the innate spiritual fire and the illusory cauldron was too terrifying. Bai Li Fei couldn't hold on any longer. In the end, he stepped back and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. Yen Ryu retracted her hand, and the lotus flames disappeared. She frowned and looked at Bai Li Fei. She said calmly, "If you're not strong enough, don't force yourself out. You'll embarrass yourself." "You..." Bai Li Fei's face turned black, and he spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. Damn it, was he being looked down on? Yen Ryu ignored him and looked around. Was there anyone else who was stronger than him? Is there anyone stronger than Bai Li Fei? The crowd was puzzled. Then, They looked at another person. Earlier, this guy had suppressed by Li Fei. Some said that it was just strength. Now that they were competing with flames, could this guy do it? Yan Ruyu also looked over, and her gaze landed on a figure. Lin Xin walked out and said, "Let me try." Sword light surrounded his body, and his face couldn't be seen clearly. Yan Ruyu was confused. She felt that his aura was familiar, but she didn't think too much about it. "All right, let's try again. I hope you're stronger than Tianpeng." Bai Lifei clenched his teeth and looked at Lin Xian. He wanted to see how his opponent was going to deal with this. He admitted that Lin Xian had once suppressed him in terms of strength, but so what? To make the innate spiritual fire come out, strength wasn't enough. It required a terrifying flame. Did this guy have it? But soon, he was stunned because he realized that Lin Xian really did have it. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 9 suns divine fire flew out. It was like a sun that shone in the sky. The terrifying flame aura caused everyone's face to change. Bai Lifei's pupils shrank. Damn it, how could his flame be so powerful? Although they were both golden flames, he felt that the other party's golden flames were not any weaker than his sky flames. Who exactly was this person? Qing Feng was also surprised. What a terrifying flame. She was getting more and more interested in Lin Xian. Even Yan Ruyu was stunned. This flame was like the sun, which made her feel even more familiar. Could it be him? Her lips curled into a smile as she formed a seal with her palms. The green lotus flame flew out and bloomed between heaven and earth. On the other side, the 9 suns divine flame had turned into 9 suns that were revolving between heaven and earth. The two worked together, causing the illusory cauldron that had appeared before to reappear. Innate fire danced inside. Furthermore, the appearance of the cauldron was becoming clearer and clearer. It was coming out soon. Innate spirit fire. Countless people exclaimed. Bai Lifei was shocked. He gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. How was that possible? The other party had really used it. Damn it, he was no match for his opponent in terms of flames, which made him feel a huge sense of defeat. He had lost to his opponent twice. Lin Xian was also surprised. What a terrifying flame aura. At that moment, he heard a voice beside him. "I knew it. Such terrifying flames and sword qi. It was indeed you. I didn't expect you to have already come to Holy Abyss Ancient City. I told you before that I was at Demon Emperor Mountain. Why didn't you come to find me?" Lin Xian smiled bitterly. It seemed that the other party had recognized him. He had said that he wanted to wait for things here to settle down before looking for him. Who would have thought that he would come early? Right? What was the use of this innate spirit fire? What a terrifying aura. And what was that illusory cauldron? That illusory cauldron should be the broken spirit void cauldron. This innate spirit fire was related to the spirit void cauldron. If you could absorb it, it would be extremely beneficial to your flame. But don't be anxious. Let's wait until the innate spirit fire is completely out. All right. Lin Xian nodded. Since the other party had recognized him, he wouldn't hide anymore. He activated the 9 suns divine flame with all his might. In front of him, the innate spirit fire was becoming clearer and clearer. It suddenly exploded, forming a terrifying flame that was vast and mighty. It really appeared. Everyone's eyes turned red. This was the legendary innate spirit fire. Had it appeared in front of them? Quick, swallow the innate spirit fire, and it would greatly increase the flame. It could even help them break through. Some people immediately rushed over. Everyone here was a flame expert. Some threw out terrifying pagodas, while others took out terrifying cauldrons to absorb the innate spirit fire. However, as soon as they got close to the innate spirit fire, they burned. No, they screamed. 3 experts were instantly turned into ashes. The others were also severely burned. Their faces were filled with fear. Stupid things. Do you think you can get the innate spirit fire? Bai Lifei looked at the scene and sneered. Let me do it. He attacked forcefully. An illusion of a canopy appeared behind his back, and it rushed over with overwhelming force. On the other side, Qing Feng snorted. Green flames appeared in his eyes. He turned into a phoenix and danced between heaven and earth. At this moment, the two of them attacked with all their might. The innate spirit fire was also very useful to them. It was terrifying. The others retreated. They didn't dare to provoke Bai Lifei. Moreover, they realized that Qing Feng was from the Phoenix clan. This was even more terrifying. The two of them had the combat power of a great sage. The two of them worked together and swept the area, forcing the others to retreat from the valley. Then the two of them charged towards the innate spirit fire. They were courting death. Lin Xian snorted coldly and punched out. The 9 suns between heaven and earth were about to fall, transforming into 9 golden crows that charged towards the heavenly prone. On the other side, Yan Ryu's expression was also cold. She waved her hand, and countless young lotuses gathered in her hand. She slashed forward. Boom, boom. The phoenix illusion was immediately sent flying and became dim. Qing Feng's body shook and his face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, Yan Ryu, take my strongest attack. If you can block it, I'll leave immediately. Phoenix Dance of the 9 Heavens. Qing Feng activated the Phoenix bloodline to the extreme and attacked with her strongest attack. The sound of the Phoenix rang out. At this moment, the endless void shattered. Everyone felt that their bodies were about to split open. This flame was really terrifying. Green Lotus Sword Song. Yan Ryu was facing such a terrifying attack. He formed a seal with his hands, and the surrounding fire lotuses turned into huge green flame swords that swept in all directions. In an instant, Sword Qi covered the sky and covered the earth. Boom, boom. Both of them were consummate skills. After one attack, the sky full of green lotuses bloomed and became even brighter. On the other hand, the Phoenix Dance of the 9 Heavens was completely shattered. You're really as strong as the legends say. I admit defeat. Qing Feng quickly retreated and left the valley. It couldn't be helped. Although her status and talent were strong, Yan Ryu was a legendary figure. Her identity and origin were extremely mysterious. Hence, Qing Feng didn't feel embarrassed losing to such a person. Chapter 4787. Qing Feng gave up, but Bai Lifei didn't. He shouted and unleashed the terrifying heavenly rock 9 slashes towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. A defeated opponent dared to fight. He formed a rock shadow and swept in all directions. The golden rock carried the power of divine fire and bloomed between heaven and earth, colliding with the sky. The two forces were really too terrifying. In an instant, the heavenly rock trembled, as if it was about to split open. So strong. The other party was really too terrifying. Even the heavenly rock 9 slashes couldn't do anything to the other party. 9 slashes and 1. Heavenly rock slays the dragon. The heavenly rock phantom behind him became even more realistic, as if it had crossed through time and space. The terrifying claws wanted to tear everything apart. The flames that filled the sky were torn apart, and the rock was also torn apart. It quickly charged towards Lin Xian. The people outside the valley were stunned when they saw this scene. As expected of the Heavenly Rock clan's bloodline, it was really too strong. Legend had it that the Heavenly Rock ate dragons. Everyone felt that Lin Xian might not be able to block it. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Heavenly Rock slays the dragon. Today you can slaughter one. Look, his bloodline was also activated. Terrifying phantoms appeared behind him, one after another. There was a Tyrannosaurus Rex baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. a sword dragon that swept through the 9 heavens, and an incomparably terrifying sea dragon. Each of them looked down on the world. That terrifying aura made everyone's soul almost split open. What a terrifying aura of the Tao of Dragons. Was he from the Dragon Clan? The surrounding people all went crazy. The Tyrannosaurus Rex roared towards the sky and waved its claws, blocking the sharp claws of the heavenly rock. Large cracks appeared between heaven and earth. The sword dragon rushed out. The scales on its back turned into divine swords that pierced the clouds. The heavenly rock phantom was forced back. There were even many places that were pierced. The sea dragon swept out, swallowing it with the power of 10,000 seas. The 10,000 dragons fought the heavenly rock and finally tore it apart. Bai Li Fei retreated, his body torn apart. He retreated with a face full of shock. He didn't dare to attack again. It was true that the heavenly rock slayed dragons, but it was only an ordinary dragon. If the dragon race was strong enough, they could also kill the sky pung. There was nothing absolute in this world. Everything depended on one's strength. Right now, he could not defeat these dragon shadows in front of him. All right, now that the flies have been cleared, the two of us can collect the innate spirit fire. Lin Xian walked forward. On the other side, Yan Ruyu was also blooming lotuses with each step. The two of them came to the front and felt the tremendous power coming from the innate spiritual fire. They were about to take action. However, at this moment, the void split open. Terrifying black flames swept out. One blade was aimed at Lin Xian, while the other blade was aimed at Yan Ruyu. Clang! Lin Xian flicked his hand and unleashed the great rock spreading wings, slamming into the black flames and emitting a deafening sound. The entire valley began to shake violently. On the other side, Yan Ruyu used the green lotus sword song and pierced through the black flames. Her eyes shone with a sharp light. Was there anyone else? Lin Xian coldly snorted. Who was it that didn't know the difference between life and death? Get out here. 2 young men. Wanting to obtain the innate spirit fire was just a pipe dream. Get out of here obediently, and I'll spare your lives. Endless black flames condensed in the sky, forming an old man with a pagoda floating in his hand. The people outside the valley were terrified. Who was this? A true great saint had come. Someone's pupils shrank. I know him. His name is Mo Shan. Not only is he a great saint, but he's also very terrifying. He's ranked 5,000th on the Saint Origin list. What? To be able to be on the Saint Origin list, how terrifying was his strength? Not to mention being ranked 5,000th. He was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. Those 2 young men were in danger. Yes, although those 2 had the combat strength of a great saint, they were probably still a little weaker than a true great saint. Not to mention a terrifying victory like Mo Shan's. Even if they were in the same realm, the gap between them was huge. Some people could instantly kill experts of the same realm. Mo Shan was a very terrifying existence among the great saints. Hearing the discussion outside, Mo Shan sneered. Did you hear that? I'm not someone you can challenge. Get out of here. As he spoke, the black flames under his feet turned into a hell-fire python, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Sigh. Reckless. Seems like I have to use some tricks. Yan Ruyu sighed. Lin Xian sneered. How dare you be arrogant in front of me just because you're ranked 5,000th? Get out of here. The people outside had all gone crazy. These 2 youngsters were too reckless. Mo Shan's face sank. It's been a long time since someone dared to challenge me. Since the 2 of you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. In his opinion, the 2 of them were just reckless. But this time, he was wrong. These 2 young men couldn't be looked at with ordinary eyes. Yan Ruyu was extremely mysterious and had a super weapon, and Lin Xian was ranked 3,000th on the Saint Origin list. Compared to Mo Shan, he was much higher. The black flames that filled the sky condensed and covered the sky, enveloping the entire valley. Retreat. The surrounding people retreated. At this moment, they didn't dare to go forward, because the hellfire python in front was too terrifying. They were afraid that after the hellfire python, these people would be turned into ashes. A mere hellfire python dared to fight against a real dragon? Lin Xian laughed. The 1,000-dragon bloodline behind him exploded again. He swept across the area. People from the dragon race? The great sage of Mo Shan frowned and sneered. He would kill the dragon race too. He waved the black pagoda in his hand. This was his weapon, a great sage weapon. With one attack, the power of the hellfire python became even more terrifying. It was a great sage weapon. The people outside felt the aura and were even more frightened. Although they couldn't see, they knew that the battle would end soon. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, the heaven-devouring jar appeared. A terrifying aura exploded and swallowed all the hellfire python. Then, with an even more terrifying power, it rushed towards the great sage of Mo Shan. Damn it, you can actually block my great sage weapon. Mo Shan was shocked. He realized that Lin Xian also had an incredible treasure. After dealing with this woman, he charged towards Yan Ruyu. Yan Ruyu snorted. A green lotus appeared behind her and swayed gently. The sky fell and the earth cracked. The great sage of Mo Shan's body instantly turned into a bloody mist. Even his weapon, the pagoda, became dim and was about to shatter. He was terrified. It was as if he had seen the most terrifying thing. Half of his sage blood burned and severed heaven and earth, while the other half took his soul and great sage item and escaped with his life. The void broke open, and Mo Shan escaped like a stray dog. The people outside were stunned. What was that black shadow? It seemed to be the great sage of Mo Shan. Was he injured and escaped? Everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't dare to believe it. Qing Feng and Bai Lifei sucked in a cold breath. What happened inside? Such a shocking scene was hard to believe. At this moment, no one dared to enter the valley. It was as if the Spirit Void Valley had become a land of death. Chapter 4788. In the valley, Yanruyu looked at Lin Xian in shock. She was surprised that Lin Xian had managed to get his hands on the heaven-devouring jar. Lin Xian was even more shocked. Firstly, Yanruyu was able to recognize the heaven-devouring jar immediately. Secondly, the green lotus behind Yanruyu was so terrifying that it sent chills down Lin Xian's spine. Lin Xian felt that it was weaker than his great dragon sword soul. Yanryu's trump card was indeed powerful. Lin Xian wondered what the true identity of this woman was. All right, time to collect the Khanate spiritual fire. Yanryu smiled as the green lotus behind her disappeared. Lin Xian nodded and controlled the heaven-devouring jar to start devouring the Khanate spiritual fire. The Khanate spiritual fire was equally terrifying, and its power was comparable to that of a great sage. In fact, it was even more terrifying than the great sage of the demonic mountain. However, Lin Xian and Yan Ryu had many tricks up their sleeves, and it was not a problem for them to control the Khanate spiritual fire. In the following days, the two of them cultivated in the Spirit Ruin Valley. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed, and the people outside had already left. It was not that they did not want to enter, but they could sense a fatal danger the moment they entered. Even a great sage would not be able to enter, let alone them. Qing Feng and Bai Lifei left as well. There was no need for them to wait any longer. Only the Spirit Ruin Valley ahead of them had turned into a land of death. There were towering flames rumbling continuously. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Lin Xian was still absorbing the Khanate's spiritual fire. On the other hand, St. Origin Ancient City was bustling with activity again. It was time for the annual test of the three main orthodoxies. Lin Xian wondered how many Sky Prides would be able to enter this year. The True Path sect was still bustling with activity. There were two figures in the crowd. One of them was surrounded by ice that made one shiver. As for the other person, there was a red leaf circling around his fingertip. With a smile on his face, the two of them entered the testing grounds. They passed the test successfully. Not only that, the two of them started to challenge the experts on the stars ranking the next day. Both of them successfully made it to the stars ranking. One of them was ranked 100 on the stars ranking, while the other was ranked 87. This caused the people of the Tao sect to go into an uproar. Another top-tier genius had come this time. Heavens, the man with the red leaf was even more terrifying. She was even more terrifying than Fairy Jiu. So what? Currently, Fairy Jiu was ranked 30th on the new list. These newcomers couldn't compare to him at all. Senior Brother Fu, this is indeed the Tao sect. It's really strong. Every single person here is much stronger than the ones we've seen before. Lu Yuan looked at the figures in front of him with excitement. Fu Hongya also took a deep breath. It's fine. Although we've just entered, we'll definitely strive for greater heights. These two people were Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan. Previously, the two of them had been cultivating in the Xiantian Pavilion. From the looks of it, they had already left the Xiantian Pavilion. He began to travel around the buried Emperor Star. On the 10th day of his arrival at the Tao sect, a piece of news swept over. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan were both shocked. It was said that a lot of treasures were lost in the Dragon Palace overnight. They saw a monkey appearing and disappearing like a ghost, and were now pursuing it with all their might. There was even a cauldron of pills condensed from more than 10 types of dragon blood that were stolen. The people of the Dragon Palace went crazy. This cauldron of pills was meant for the Dragon Crown Prince. Now that it was lost, they couldn't bear the consequences. Thus, they frantically searched for that monkey. They definitely wouldn't let him go. Divine residents. The Crimson Dragon and the others were anxiously waiting. That fellow Little White had been gone for so long. Was there any problem? The Toad said, "Don't worry, little guy. He might not be good at other things, but he's definitely good at finding treasures." Just as he was speaking, a white figure jumped onto his head. "He's back." The Toad cried out in alarm. The Crimson Dragon waved his hand, and a formation enveloped the residents. He said, "How is it?" Little White took down the treasure bowl and poured out the things inside, piling them up into a small mountain. Nalan Liang's eyes were wide open. Yuren was also so scared that his scalp went numb. When had he ever seen so many treasures? He reckoned that the rewards he received in 10 years weren't even this much. Little White picked up a few good-looking fruits and said, "These are mine. You guys can split the rest." "Little guy, you did well." The Toad's mouth was crooked from smiling. The Crimson Dragon and the other's eyes were also shining. These things were definitely a shocking amount of wealth. In particular, he found a pill furnace that was emitting smoke. After opening it, he found 9 pills, each of them sparkling and translucent. There seemed to be a dragon's shadow revolving around it. What a terrifying pill. Nalan Liang and the others were shocked. The Crimson Dragon's eyes also lit up. It was made from more than 10 types of dragon blood. It was a great supplement. Little White blinked his big eyes, as if it was delicious. However, it looked too ugly. He looked at the beautiful spirit fruit in his hand and the radiant dragon core. It seemed to be very difficult to make a decision. At this time, the entire sky outside rang out. Roars rang out one after another. Terrifying souls hid the sky and covered the earth as they searched. The formation kept shaking. Nalan Liang's scalp went numb. What was going on outside? Yuren said, "I'll go out and investigate." He walked out of the formation and quickly investigated. Soon, he returned with a pale face. The people of the Dragon Palace had gone crazy. The toad said, "It must be because of this furnace of pills." Nalan Liang said, "Why don't we hand it over? This pill looks extraordinary. If we really take it, the Dragon Palace will go crazy and attack us." The Crimson Dragon said, "Don't be afraid. How can we hand over something that is already in our hands? Besides, do they have evidence?" The Crimson Dragon took out 2 dragon cores. He said, "These 2 are for Linbrat. We'll quickly divide the rest." If they couldn't find evidence, then it would be slander. They were all dumbfounded. Nalan Liang and Yuren also said, "Do we have a share too?" The toad said, "Of course. Everyone has a share in the divine abode." "Boss, you'll be my big brothers forever," Nalan Liang exclaimed. Yuren was so emotional that he cried, "I'll follow you forever." Next, Nalan Liang and the fishmen each received 1. The remaining ones were divided among the Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and Little White. 2 were left for Lin Xian. After these people swallowed, they felt as if a volcano was erupting in their bodies. It was as if their meridians were about to shatter. Damn it, what terrifying power. Roar, roar, roar. At the same time, endless dragon roars came from their bodies, resounding through the 9 heavens. Not good. The expressions of the toad and the others changed. They didn't expect the power of this pill to be above their imagination. The sound spread out in an instant. It was too late for them to use the formation to suppress it, so much so that everyone in the Tao sect heard it. It was as if 10,000 dragons were born. Damn it. When the people of the Dragon Palace heard this sound, their eyes instantly turned red. They rushed over. When they arrived at the divine abode and saw the terrifying dragon aura below, they all roared. The thing was here. Chapter 4789. Kill. They attacked. The array below rolled and released a terrifying force that forced them back. The people from Dragon Palace were shocked. This was impossible. This array formation was too terrifying. Who was the one who set it up? They were discovered. The Crimson Dragon's expression changed. In the next moment, they put away their treasures, as if they were facing a great enemy. The people inside, listen up. Get the hell out here. How dare you steal the treasures of Dragon Palace? You must be tired of living. Exclamations of shock and anger could be heard. The other people in Taoist sect were also shocked. Who were these people? How dare they target Dragon Palace? Someone said that this was by Zhen's residence in the past, but it was taken away by Lin Xian and the rest. Was it Lin Xian and the rest? They were shocked. These people were too daring. What should they do? Nalan Liang and the rest were terrified. Should they teleport away first? No, the surroundings had been sealed. The Crimson Dragon frowned. He looked around and then flew into the sky. Through the formation, he looked outside. Why did you come to my residence? How dare you steal the treasures of Dragon Palace? Hand them over obediently and kneel on the ground. Otherwise, you are dead. What a joke! Which eye of yours saw me steal your treasures? Show me the evidence. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. The dragon roar from before was the evidence. The Crimson Dragon laughed. Are you crazy? What kind of evidence is the dragon roar? Ben Huang is a dragon. Can't Ben Huang sing here? With that, the Crimson Dragon roared a few more times. The terrifying dragon roar shook the 9 heavens, causing everyone's blood to freeze. This guy's bloodline is so strong. The people from Taoist sect were shocked. Someone said, I think Dragon Palace made a mistake. That was indeed the dragon's roar. This dragon must have been cultivating some kind of secret technique. The people from Dragon Palace also looked cold. Are you trying to lie to us? Then we will search for you personally. They flew down and quickly attacked the array formation. The formation shook. Although it was set up by Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon, its power was formidable. However, if these people from Dragon Palace continued to attack, it would not take long for it to be broken. After all, there were too many people from Dragon Palace. Damn it, what should I do? Nalan Liang gritted his teeth. The toad said he was going to fight it out with them. However, Yuren stepped forward. Brother Long, Brother Toad, there was no need to fight with them. The Tao sect had its rules. He took a deep breath and shouted to the people from the Dragon Palace outside. According to the rules of the True Path sect, the residence was protected, and no one was allowed to attack. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. Yuren had a nervous expression. To be honest, he did not dare to resist the people of Dragon Palace. But these days, when he was with Lin Xian and the others, he gradually became more confident. Furthermore, Lin Xian and the others treated him very well. They even gave him dragon pills to eat. At the critical moment, he had to step up. Compared to Nalan Liang, the Crimson Dragon, and the others, Yuren had come a few years earlier. Therefore, he was more familiar with the rules of the True Path sect. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon asked, "Is what you said true?" Yuren nodded. "It's true. As long as you stay here for a while, you will know the rules of the True Path sect." Indeed, as one of the three great orthodoxies, how could the orthodoxies kill each other? The True Path sect would definitely not allow it, unless it was a battle of life and death. Even if it was a challenge for ranking, they would not kill. Ha! The toad was amused. He jumped up and said, "Dragon Palace people, if you dare to attack again, don't blame us for informing the elders. Let the True Path sect punish you." Damn it! The people from Dragon Palace gritted their teeth. They stared at Yuren. They originally thought that the toad, the Crimson Dragon, and the others had just arrived and would not understand the rules. Who would have thought that the other party would bring out the sect rules in an instant? Let them attack again. The surrounding people were also discussing spiritedly. Just you wait. Don't think that we can't attack just because of the sect rules. One day, you will regret it. The people from Dragon Palace gritted their teeth. They hurried back to report to Lonzilu. Lonzila's expression changed. Even something as important as the dragon elixir was lost. The Dragon Crown Prince would definitely be furious when he found out. Someone at the side said, "Why don't we attack quickly and kill our way in before the elders react and snatch the dragon elixir back?" No. Lonzilla shook his head. Although he was from Dragon Palace, they did not dare to challenge the sect rules. How about this? Gather all the people on the stars ranking and hold a gathering. Aren't the dragon and the toad on the stars ranking? At that time, they would have to participate. This way, they could directly challenge them, defeat them, and even cripple them. Everything would make sense. Lonzilla's eyes shone with an extremely cold light. The other party was still too weak to fight with Dragon Palace. "Yes, we understand. My subordinates, hurry up and take action." In an instant, the undercurrent in the True Path sect was surging. A gathering about the stars ranking was quickly starting. Spirit Void Valley was covered in flames. It had become a land of death. There were no living creatures in the surroundings. Even the demonic beasts had left. On this day, two figures opened their eyes one after another in the valley. Lin Xian stood up and roared towards the sky. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body had become even more terrifying. His 9 suns' divine body had improved. His physique and strength were stronger than before. If he were to meet Bai Li Fei now, he would probably be able to completely crush him with just his strength. He was confident that he could defeat him with a single punch. The increase in strength caused Lin Xian's eyes to shine with a cold light. Previously, he had already reached the 3,000th rank in the Sacred Abyss Tower. Now, it seemed that he could continue to break through. On the other side, Yen Ryu's lips curled into a smile. As expected of the innate spiritual fire, it actually helped me break through my bottleneck. What are you planning to do next? Lin Xian asked with a smile. He said, there is a Sacred Abyss Tower in Holy Distant Ancient City. It's very unique. Why don't you give it a try? However, Yen Ryu shook her head. No need. I have another cultivation method. What about you? She looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, I'm going back to the Path Sect to rest for a few days before heading to the Sacred Abyss Tower. Why don't you follow me back to the Path Sect? Yen Ryu nodded. I also want to see the legendary 3 great orthodoxies. The 2 of them soared into the sky and left the spiritual ruins valley. At the same time, the terrifying flames in the spiritual ruins valley also disappeared. The Path Sect, it had become much livelier. Many experts had returned because a grand event was about to begin. The Dragon Palace was hosting the Stars ranking gathering. Divine Talisman, the Crimson Dragon, Toad, and the others had naturally received the invitation. The Crimson Dragon's face turned cold. Humph, are they trying to get us to go out? Nalan Liang said, ignore them. We'll just stay in the sect and see what they can do. However, the Crimson Dragon frowned. No, we have to go. Don't forget our goal. We will definitely establish a sect in the future. That will take in a lot of people. If I don't go now, I'll be a coward. Who will dare to come to the divine union in the future? Chapter 4790. Indeed, everyone nodded. However, Toad said that we don't have enough people. Although we are strong individually, we will be at a disadvantage if the other party attacks us one after another. Don't worry, I have already sent a message to Lin Xian. He said that he is on his way back. Is that kid coming back? They heaved a sigh of relief. They were clear about Lin Xian's strength. Now that he was back, there shouldn't be much danger on their side. At this moment, the array outside flickered again. Someone is coming. The Crimson Dragon frowned. Are the people from the Dragon Palace here again? A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the 2 figures outside, he was stunned. Who are they? Nalan Liang was puzzled. The Crimson Dragon smiled. They were Lin Xian's former sect mates and old friends. He waved his hand, and the array opened. At the same time, he flew over. The 2 of you are here. Brother Dragon, it is indeed you. The 2 people who came were Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan. Previously, they didn't know that the Crimson Dragon and the others were also in the Dao sect. However, when the Dragon Palace besieged them previously, they were among the spectators and saw the Crimson Dragon through the array. They were shocked. Fu Hongya asked, where is little Marshal Uncle? Is he here? On the way back, the Crimson Dragon waved his hand and said, it is good that you are here. This way, our 3 alliances will have another force. The 2 of them were on the same side. The Crimson Dragon quickly explained the situation. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan nodded after hearing it. No problem. We will naturally stand on little Marshal Uncle's side. From now on, we are members of the Divine Union. All right, let's get ready to participate in the Stars List gathering. Dragon Palace, inside a spiritual mountain. A lady in blue waved her hand. Around her was an extremely terrifying ice domain. There were all sorts of snowy mountains and valleys that could freeze everything. A sage king would probably turn into an ice sculpture in an instant. Boom, boom. Not only that, but the ice in the ice domain condensed into 2 ice dragons. They roared between heaven and earth, their terrifying aura shocking everyone. Ice Dragon Palm. With a strike of his palm, 2 ice dragons flew out. Wherever they passed, the world was sealed in ice. The blue-clothed woman retracted her palm and heaved a sigh of relief. The aura of the Tao of Dragon was indeed powerful. That strike wasn't any weaker than a peerless divine ability. Little sister, it seems like your strength has increased again. Longilu walked over and said with a smile, "You can shine brightly in this stars list gathering." Longilu nodded. She said, "This time, I have the confidence to fight for the top 10. Her beautiful eyes sparkled as she asked, "Brother, do you think Lin Xian will come?" Longilu's eyes flashed with a cold light when he mentioned the other party. That coward had not appeared for a few times already. Longilu had said that regardless of whether he would come or not, the people around him would definitely die. "Brother, he's here. Let me do it myself. I'll let him know the difference between us." "Don't worry, I'll leave him to you," Longilu said faintly. He was very confident in his sister. In another part of the forest, a dream-like man walked out. There were many demonic beasts around him that had collapsed, their auras gone. In the distance, some Tao sect disciples saw this scene and felt their scalps go numb. This person's soul was so terrifying. Who was he? He should have entered the Tao sect with Fairy Zhiyu. He was called Dream Eater Wolf. After he came, he was even more low-key than Lin Xian. It was as if he had never appeared before. Who would have thought that he would be so terrifying? I feel that he can enter the top 30 of the stars list. This stars list gathering is really lively. Fairy, Zhiyu's strength has increased greatly. I'm afraid that she will be even more terrifying. Now, another Dream Eater Wolf has appeared. Also, Lin Xian's friends are all very terrifying. I wonder what the final outcome will be. Some people exclaimed while others sneered. Don't worry, no matter how strong they are not a match for the Dragon Palace. At this moment, many people were rushing to the Tao sect. Lin Xian and Yan Ryu were among them. The speed of the two of them was not fast, because they did not care. Instead, they were very calm, as if they were playing. This was also Yan Ruyu's first time in the Holy Abyss ancient city. Lin Xian had been to a few relics of the sages before. Therefore, he was leading Yan Ryu to experience the laws of the sages. At this moment, the sound of fighting came from the forest ahead. Lin Xian looked down and saw a purple demon bull roaring at the sky. A terrifying, murderous aura swept in all directions. It was fighting with a man. The sword in his hand was like an agile snake that attacked continuously. He retreated as he fought. Although he was at a disadvantage, he was still at ease. People of the Tao sect, looking at the clothes and totems on these people, Lin Xian squinted his eyes. However, that was not what he was concerned about. What he was concerned about was the purple demon bull. Something was wrong. It seemed to be controlled. "What's wrong?" Yan Ryu said, as she looked down in shock. Someone had taken control of this demonic beast and even changed its soul. Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect Yan Ryu to notice it instantly. He also nodded. Indeed, he did not know which soul expert it was. This soul change was very subtle. Even Lin Xian was surprised. Therefore, he was prepared to investigate. The two landed and flew forward. A few figures below saw this scene and were shocked. Someone was coming, and they were heading towards the purple thunder demon bull. Did they not want to live? Although this purple thunder demon bull was only a middle saint king, it was a strange beast of heaven and earth. It was very terrifying and had infinite strength. The man who used the spirit snake sword technique snorted, "Quickly dodge. Do you not want to live?" However, he found that Lin Xian and Yan Ryu did not seem to care. They directly approached the purple thunder demon bull. The purple thunder demon bull roared. Its eyes bloomed. Terrifying lightning stared at Lin Xian and Yan Ryu. Seeing this, The spirit sword man snorted. He threw out a scroll. The terrifying laws on it exploded. Only then did he stop the purple thunder demon bull. In the next moment, he came beside the two and said, "Do you two really not want to live? In order to save you, I wasted one of my treasures." Lin Xian turned his head and sighed. He did not need the other party. However, since the other party had made a move, he nodded. "Thank you for your kindness. If you know, then quickly retreat. This guy is very powerful." He saw that Lin Xian was also a middle Saint King, so he reminded him. However, at this time, the purple thunder demon bull was slightly injured because of the power of the scroll. It roared to the sky. Lightning continuously condensed on its body. Then his body expanded to a height of 1,000 feet. In its hand, lightning condensed, forming a giant axe. It slashed towards Lin Xian and the others. Not good. The youth's expression changed drastically, but Lin Xian and Yan Ruyu's expressions remained calm. Lin Xian wanted to attack, but at this time he was stunned and looked to the side. Chapter 4791. A figure streaked across the sky like a bolt of lightning, splitting everything in its path. The purple thunder demonic bull's huge body was split in half and fell to the ground. The earth split open and blood flowed in all directions. Was it dead? The spirit snake youth was stunned. Then he smiled. Great, it was his senior brother. He turned his head and saw a man in a white robe walking in the air towards him. It was him. He looked at Lin Xian and said, "Young man, sometimes you have to know when to advance and when to retreat. With your strength, it's hard to fight against this demonic bull. So the next time you meet such a demonic beast, try to escape." In his opinion, the only reason Lin Xian and the others were able to survive this time was because he had intervened. Otherwise, they would have died without a doubt. Lin Xian said, "I just felt that this lightning bull was a little strange, so I wanted to investigate it." He was telling the truth. However, the other party shook his head and sneered. He really didn't know what was good for him. The spirit snake youth said, "Looking at your clothes, you must be from the Tao sect. We are too. This is my senior brother, He Yunxiao. He is ranked 3rd in the Tao sect." He Yunxiao also looked at Lin Xian. "You're also from the Tao sect?" Lin Xian nodded. "Yes, I just joined the Tao sect." He Yunxiao understood. "So, it's a new disciple. Forget it, you're lucky to have met me. There are a few demonic beasts here that are not weaker than this lightning bull. If you go alone, it will be very dangerous. Follow me." After saying this, he looked ahead. Actually, he wasn't looking at Lin Xian, but Yan Ruyu. Yan Ruyu's jade-like beauty shocked even him. He asked, "I wonder who this fairy is." "I'm his friend," Yan Ryu said indifferently, not paying much attention to him. He Yunxiao was surprised. He didn't expect Lin Xian, a middle-stage Saint King, to have such a beautiful friend. However, he didn't care about the other party's cold attitude. Maybe she came from somewhere else and hadn't seen many geniuses. He believed that as long as he displayed some strength, the other party would fall in love with him. "Let's go. He Yunxiao will lead the way." The spirit snake youth also walked over and said, "How was it? That one-hit sure kill move just now. Isn't it powerful? That's my senior brother's ultimate technique. White crane palm. Are you shocked?" Lin Xian said, not paying much attention. Indeed, he didn't pay attention to He Yunxiao. Although He Yunxiao was ranked 3rd on the stars ranking, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. He was curious from the beginning. Who changed the soul of this demonic bull? Didn't care? That young man was stunned. Then he said, "You said you didn't see it clearly, right? With your cultivation. How could you have seen it clearly? You can't keep up with my speed." Finally, he said, "You're going to watch the stars list gathering this time, right?" At that time, you will see my senior brother shine again. Up ahead. He Yunxiao also smiled. This time, he had the confidence to fight for first place. Therefore, when the time came for him to display his powerful strength, this beautiful woman would come to his side. Seeing the two of them so proud, Lin Xian found it funny. Beside him, Yan Ruyu also shook her head slightly. They were indeed people from two different worlds. However, they were in the sky while the other party was on the ground. Lin Xian didn't say anything. After all, he was going to return to the Dao sect. It wasn't a bad idea to let the other party lead the way. It would save him a lot of trouble. At this moment, the Dao sect was completely bustling. The experts on the stars list had all returned. There were also some who were training outside. This time, they were going to compete. Stars list. They were going to be famous. Near the ancient arena, there were many spectator stands. Some places were even condensed by the laws, forming pavilions and palaces. Some floated in the clouds, while others stood on the ground. The people sitting here were all extraordinary. The top 10 on the stars list each had their own palace. As the third on the stars list, He Yunxiao naturally had his own palace. At this moment, he led Lin Xian and the others into the palace. Some Dao sect disciples surrounded them. Apart from that, there were also some battle servants and maids. These were all He Yunxiao's subordinates. As the new third on the stars list, He Yunxiao also opened his own palace. At this moment, these subordinates were serving tea and water. The spirit snake youth looked at Lin Xian. The two of them said, "Take a seat." Suddenly, he realized that the two of them had already sat down. They didn't seem to be nervous at all. These two guys were really weird. However, they probably didn't know what was going to happen. Although Lin Xian was a Dao sect disciple, he had just joined the sect not long ago. He probably didn't even know what the stars list was. When his senior brother revealed his identity, this guy would probably be scared silly. He couldn't wait to see the shocked expressions of Lin Xian and He Yunxiao. Thinking of this, the spirit snake youth ran over and asked, "Senior brother, we have a chance to fight for the top spot this time, right?" He Yunxiao said, "Yes. This time, I'm stronger than before." However, he didn't know how many experts would appear this time. The spirit snake youth said, "I heard that Fairy Zayu is very powerful. She will definitely be able to enter the top 10 this time. She might even be able to enter the top 5. I'm afraid that when she grows up, she will be able to dominate the world." He Yunxiao nodded. Fairy Zayu was indeed very talented. It wouldn't be a problem for her to enter the top 5. However, to dominate the world? I'm afraid not. Right now, your eyes are only on the Dao sect. Other than the Dao sect, there are 2 other orthodoxies. There's even the scarier glory list. That's where the real experts compete. Countless great sages yearn to be there. If you can enter the glory list, even if it's the last place, you will be able to dominate the world. So powerful. The spirit snake youth and the rest were stunned. They didn't know that Lin Xian, who they looked down on, was the 3,000th person on the glory list. If they knew, they would probably be scared silly. Someone was coming. Suddenly, He Yunxiao raised his head and looked outside. A group of people walked in majestically from the outside. Their auras were extremely majestic. Many people stepped aside. It was the people from the Dragon Palace. The spirit snake youth also looked over and exclaimed, "Fairy Zayu was among them." At this moment, Lan Zayu had dressed up meticulously. She looked like an ice goddess. The cold aura around her frightened many people. Fairy Zayu, outside, many disciples of the Dao sect had already started shouting and becoming her followers. They couldn't help it. Fairy Zayu was extremely beautiful and talented. A fairy like her would naturally be pursued by countless people. He Yunxiao raised his head and looked over. His eyes were burning with passion. However, he then looked at Yan Ruyu. He thought to himself, Fairy Zayu is also a genius. However, compared to this woman in white, she's still lacking. Moreover, this woman in white was obviously inexperienced. Hence, he felt that he had a higher chance of winning Yenryu. Thinking of this, he decided to perform well later. Chapter 4792. Not only Lan Jiu, but many experts from the Dragon Palace had also come. Even Lan Zilu had come personally. He had occupied the best palace and led everyone to their seats. Many people exclaimed. Yun Xiao's pupils constricted. Did Lan Jiu come personally? He didn't care about Lan Jiu and thought that Lan Jiu was weaker than him, but he was terrified of Lan Zilu. Lan Jiu was ranked 24th on the Jade list. His strength was terrifying. If Lan Zilu wanted to kill him, he could kill him in one move. How could he not be terrified of such a person? However, this was a gathering of the stars list. Lan Jiu was here to hold the fort and wouldn't make a move. The only person he had to pay attention to was Bu Pingfan, who was ranked first on the new list. That person was unfathomable. He had fought with Bu Pingfan a few times and had lost. However, he would definitely win this time. The Dragon Palace was indeed the most terrifying force in the Taoist sect. Their appearance made the surrounding people fearful and envious. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon and the others had also arrived. They looked ahead and snorted. Why are you so arrogant? Sooner or later, we will trample you under our feet. Lu Yuan, who was beside him, asked, Is Junior Uncle here? The Crimson Dragon said, He should be here. Lin Xian hadn't met up with them, so they weren't sure. However, they knew that Lin Xian wouldn't miss this opportunity. Suddenly, they frowned because they felt a sharp gaze from the Dragon Palace shrouding them. It was filled with killing intent. The people around the Crimson Dragon immediately made way. A vacuum appeared in the originally crowded area. Who are these people? How did they offend the Dragon Palace? Don't you know? He is Lin Xian's friend. What? These are Lin Xian's friends? Where is Lin Xian? Is he here? Countless people were surprised. So, the Dragon Palace was dealing with this group of people. In the palace, Lan Jiu stood up and looked ahead. She saw the Crimson Dragon, Toad, and two unfamiliar men. However, she didn't see Lin Xian. She frowned and asked coldly, Where is Lin Xian? Did he not appear? The Toad snorted coldly. Even without him, I can teach you a lesson. The Crimson Dragon sneered. You want him to appear? Let's see if the Dragon Palace has the ability. How arrogant! The people of Dragon Palace gnashed their teeth. Someone snorted coldly. I think he's a coward. He doesn't dare to come at all. The others were also discussing spiritedly. They had never seen Lin Xian fight before, except for the fact that he was ranked first in the test. After coming in, they never heard anything about him again. In their opinion, the other party had either run out of ideas or used despicable means to enter. He did not have much strength at all. All right, there's no need to talk nonsense with them. Let's begin. Lan Zilu said indifferently from behind. He sat there like a supreme emperor, controlling everything. The people of Dragon Palace nodded. A man walked out and said loudly, Today, all the masters on the stars list of Dragon Palace are gathered together. It was all for the sake of holding a grand event. At the same time, he also felt that there were many geniuses who had become Dao sect disciples. Was the stars ranking going to be updated? Many people were in an uproar when they heard that. They wondered what kind of exciting battle would happen next. As for the rules, everyone should be clear about it. Dao sect's rules state that no killing is allowed. All right, who would like to come up and challenge first? Many people's eyes lit up when they heard that. They had been waiting for this day for a long time. Some of the masters had been training hard so that they could be ranked on the stars list and become famous. At this moment, someone stood up. I'll do it. This person's body carried extremely terrifying lightning. He challenged the 92nd person on the stars list right away. The two of them fought fiercely, and the Lightning Man actually succeeded. This made the atmosphere even more heated. In an instant, many people came out to challenge the new masters on the stars list. Two figures stood on a mountain peak far away. They were Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei. They looked at the battle in front of them, and their eyes lit up. Although they were not interested in such a battle, they were very concerned about it. Although these people were weaker than them, they were all top-notch masters and geniuses in the outside world. It was enough to show how terrifying the three main orthodoxies were. The Tao sect was extraordinary. Qing Feng said that the Dragon Palace was terrifying. They had the Dragon Prince and the Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince had the ancient, desolate body and was extremely terrifying. The Dragon Prince was even more terrifying. The Emperor's son. The only one who could compete with him was Kunpengzi. It seemed like the Princess of the Phoenix Territory would have to fight with them. As an emperor's race, the Phoenix Ridge also had a princess. Now that the princess had awakened, her strength might not be weaker than Kunpengzi and the Dragon Prince. It was just that she did not come to Saint Distant Ancient City to cultivate. Bai Li Fei said, although the Sky Rock clan is not an emperor's race, this time, the number one in the Sky Rock clan could definitely compete with the emperor's son. He might even be able to slay a dragon. He had absolute confidence in his clan's number one genius. His opponent was much stronger than him. He might even become a great emperor. In the third palace, Lin Xian looked at the scene outside and nodded slightly. His eyes lit up as he watched every battle seriously. Although these people were not as strong as him, each of them had their own merits. Lin Xian wanted to play to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses. He would not underestimate anyone in the world. The spirit snake youth beside him shook his head when he saw Lin Xian watching so seriously. He was indeed a newcomer. Such a scene had already shocked him. If his senior brother fought later, he would be scared to tears. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen battles had passed. Some people challenged experts on the stars ranking and succeeded, becoming famous. Some people were seriously injured and would not be able to recover in a few months. At this moment, Lan Jiu stood up from the Dragon Palace. She felt that there was no need to wait any longer. It was time to start. Lan Jiu's figure flashed, and she came to the arena. Countless people exclaimed, "Look, it's Fairy Jiu. Is Fairy Jiu going to fight? Go, Fairy Jiu. Fairy Jiu, you can definitely make it to the top 10 this time." Cries of surprise rang out one after another. Lan Jiu looked at the person and said, "Go down. You are not my opponent." That person left the arena obediently. Lan Jiu looked around and said coldly, "Who wants to challenge me?" She looked around, and no one dared to respond. "Then I will challenge you personally." She was currently ranked 29th. She looked at the person ranked 20th and said, "Come and fight." The person ranked 20th was also a woman. She was dressed in red, and her body was covered in flames. She turned into a flaming vermilion bird. She flew between heaven and earth. Her terrifying aura made people despair. Lan Jiu looked at her opponent and did not care. Her lips curled up into a smile. She said, "You should admit defeat because you are not my match." Chapter 4793. Hearing this, the crowd was in an uproar. The woman in red was no ordinary person. She was ranked 20th. How terrifying was she? The woman in red snorted coldly. "Lan Jiu, don't you think you're too arrogant? I want to see how strong you are to make me admit defeat." With that, she rushed over. Terrifying flames shot out of her palms, turning into a vermilion bird that danced in the air. Lan Jiu snorted and threw out 3 palms, freezing the entire world. The vermilion bird's flames and the woman in red were all frozen. The crowd was stunned. Was it over? In just 3 moves, Lan Jiyu had won. This method was too terrifying. Some people exclaimed. Fairy, Jiyu's strength had indeed increased by leaps and bounds. She had a chance to enter the top 10. Too powerful. As expected of my goddess. In the ice, the woman in red used all her strength to say, I admit defeat. Lan Jiyu waved his hand, and the ice melted. The woman in red landed on the ground, her face pale. Her internal organs had all been severely injured. She looked at her opponent with a terrified expression. It had only been a year. How did he become so powerful? Lan Jiyu didn't forget about her and continued to challenge her. Come on, ranked 15th. Instantly, the battle erupted again. Countless people were shocked. In the third hall, the spiritual snake youth also clenched his fists. Senior brother, Fairy Jiyu is too powerful. How did her strength increase so quickly in a year? When can I reach her level? He Yunxiao said. She was Lan Jilu's younger brother and a genius of the Blue Clan. Plus, she entered the Dragon Palace and cultivated the aura of the Tao of Dragon. How could she be slow? But compared to me, she's still lacking. I can defeat her in 10 moves. He Yunxiao's eyes were filled with confidence. Then he glanced at Yan Ryu, hoping to attract her attention. But he found that Yan Ryu didn't care at all. Instead, she was chatting and laughing with Lin Xian. This made He Yunxiao's eyes turn cold. Damn it, he couldn't wait any longer. In front, the battle continued. The person ranked 15th lost. Then Lan Jiyu challenged the person ranked 9th. They exchanged 300 moves. Lan Jiyu won. At this moment, her face was somewhat pale, and she was also injured, but she had finally succeeded in entering the top 10. Lan Jiyu's lips curled into a smile. He had achieved his goal this time. Countless people cried out in surprise, frantically shouting Lan Jiyu's name. This was because they knew that Lan Jiyu had created a miracle and directly charged into the top 10 of the stars ranking in just over a year's time. There were very few of them in history. In the future, his achievements would be limitless. He would definitely be able to enter the Xian ranking. Those from the Dragon Palace were also excited. Lan Jilu nodded his head in satisfaction, said Qingfeng, and by Li Fei on a mountain peak in the distance. They were all geniuses from the Blue Clan. From the looks of it, her talent wasn't any worse than Lan Zila's. In the future, she would be the second Lan Zilu. The two of them nodded and commented. They didn't seem too surprised, because in their opinion, such a genius was very good, but he was still unable to compete with them. In the arena, Lan Jiyu looked down after achieving her goal. She stared at Crimson Dragon and the others and asked coldly, I'll ask again, is Lin Xian not here yet? There's no need for Lin Xian. I can teach you a lesson. The toad jumped out. Crimson Dragon also said, do you think you're very powerful? You're only ranked 9th. We don't care about you. Indeed, the two of them hadn't used their full strength in the previous battle. At this moment, they were ready to attack. However, Lan Jiyu snorted coldly, You're not worthy for me to attack. She didn't care about a mere toad. The only person she wanted to challenge was Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't appear. She could only say, Humph, coward. From now on, he's not worthy to be my opponent. Countless people were in an uproar as they discussed. This Lin Xian was definitely a coward. On a mountain peak in the distance, Qingfeng and Bai Li Fei frowned when they heard the name Lin Xian. Qingqing's taste wasn't good. She actually chose such a man. Bai Li Fei sneered. After this, he would definitely find that Lin Xian. He was trash. It would be better to just kill him. Qingfeng nodded. He's just an ant. On the stage, Lan Jiyu didn't attack the toad and Crimson Dragon. Instead, she looked at the people closer to her. She wanted to continue challenging them. In the third palace, Yen Ryu looked at the scene and smiled. He seems to be challenging you. Aren't you going to go out? Lin Xian shook his head. He's too weak. I'm not interested. Hearing this, Nimble Snake was stunned. Too weak? This guy dared to say that Fairy's you was weak? Did he have eyes? Yunxiao frowned. How arrogant. However, when he saw Yen Ryu's expression, he couldn't believe it. Damn it. A peerless fairy was tricked by a brat. He couldn't accept it. He wanted to go out and prove his strength. He wanted to let Yen Ryu know that he was the real expert. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but stand up and walk out. Nimble Snake was excited. Great, his senior brother was going to fight. He looked at Lin Xian proudly. Just you wait. I'll show you my senior brother's strength. I'll show you what a peerless expert is. After Yunxiao went out, he walked into the arena and said, Fairies you must be tired after so many challenges. Why don't you go down and take a rest? Next, leave the arena to me. Countless people exclaimed. It was Yunxiao who was ranked third. Was he going to fight too? Everyone was excited. He was a godlike existence in their eyes. Lan Ziyu frowned. Ranked third? That gave her a lot of pressure. However, she was proud. How could she go down so easily? She said, If you want me to go down, let's see who's stronger. The ice energy on her body became even more terrifying. It swept forward. If that's the case, then I'll offend you. Yunxiao shouted. His body swayed, and he dashed out like lightning. Although he knew that defeating Lan Ziyu would offend Dragon Palace, he couldn't wait any longer. He wanted to prove himself in front of Yen Ryu. In front of him, everything was frozen. However, Yunxiao was nowhere to be seen. So fast. The surrounding people were shocked. Their eyes couldn't catch a trace of Yunxiao. In the next moment, Yunxiao came behind Lan Ziyu and struck out with his palm. Lan Ziyu felt her hair stand on end. It was so fast that she couldn't react. When she turned around and wanted to fight back, it was too late. This palm strike sent her flying. The void shattered. Lan Ziyu's body landed outside the arena. Her blood was boiling and her face was pale. Was she defeated? Countless people exclaimed. They didn't expect that Ziyu, who was so powerful, couldn't block Yunxiao's palm. The gap between them was too big. Chapter 4794. Damn it! Lan Ziyu gritted her teeth and wanted to charge forward. Lan Ziyu said, Stop, sister. You're not his opponent. I know. Lan Ziyu gritted her teeth. Although she was ranked 9th, there was still a gap between her and the top 3. But she didn't care. She had just entered the sect for a year and was already able to achieve such results. She was definitely the genius with the fastest improvement. Her future was limitless. The stars list was only her current ranking. Her final goal was the Xian list. Only by getting on that list could she be proud of the sect. In the third hall, the Nimble Snake youth clapped happily. He looked at Lin Xian and Lan Ziyu proudly and said, See? My senior brother is very strong. Even Fairy Ziyu couldn't block his palm. This time, he will definitely get first place on the stars list. Not bad, Lin Xian said calmly. To be honest, he didn't care. The Nimble Snake youth gritted his teeth. Not bad? Brat, do you know what an expert is? On second thought, Lin Xian probably didn't know how strong his senior brother was. All right, let's see if you still dare to be arrogant when my senior brother gets first place. At that time, you'll probably faint from fright. Lan Ziyu retreated to recover. Lan Ziyu said coldly, He dared to defeat my sister. I have to teach him a lesson. Chonglu, you go. At the command, a tall man from Dragon Palace walked up and came to the arena in a few steps. At the same time, he brought along a terrifying force. The spectators were in an uproar. Wang Zhonglo ranked second on the stars list. This was going to be a good show. It was going to be a fierce battle. One was ranked second, and the other was ranked third. Their strengths were on par. He Yunxiao narrowed his eyes. Wang Zhonglo, all right, I wanted to challenge Bu Pingfan directly, but I'll defeat you first. Then I'll challenge the first place on the stars list. It's useless, Wang Zhonglo snorted. You're not my opponent. As he spoke, he threw a punch. On the other side, He Yunxiao also charged forward. The two of them were fighting fiercely. Countless people widened their eyes. This was a rare fight between top experts. Gasps of surprise could be heard one after another. Even Lan Ziyu kept nodding her head because she realized that these two people were indeed stronger than her. She did not lose unjustly. Inside the third palace, Spirit Snake stood up excitedly and said, "Did you see that? My senior brother is so powerful." Lin Xian glanced over and shook his head. He was going to lose this round. Lost? Everyone in the palace was stunned. Spirit Snake was furious as well. "Kid, what do you know? Can you see my senior brother's figure clearly? Do you know how powerful my senior brother is? You don't know anything. Yet you dare to say that my senior brother lost. Just you wait. Senior brother is going to win. Let's see how he will punish you." The Spirit Snake teenager gritted his teeth and observed again. The battle ahead was extremely horrifying. He Yunxiao was a member of the Crane tribe, and his speed was extremely fast. His white crane divine palm could split open heaven and earth. However, Wang Zhonglo was even more terrifying. He was like a demonic god, suppressing heaven and earth. Every punch was like a demonic mountain that swept across the world. Both sides fought for 300 moves and were evenly matched. However, He Yunxiao's face was extremely ugly. He originally thought that his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. He thought that he would be able to defeat his opponent in 100 moves. However, he did not have the upper hand at all. This gave him a bad feeling. It seemed that he had underestimated his opponent. His strength had improved by leaps and bounds, but so had his opponent. How strong was Bu Pingfan, who was ranked first now? He did not dare to imagine. At this moment, Wang Zhonglo grinned. "All right, I'm not interested in fighting with you anymore. Let's end this in one move. Buddha palm." He slapped out a palm that covered heaven and earth. The entire void was shattered. This was Wang Zhonglo's ultimate skill. Countless people exclaimed, "Who could compete with this ultimate skill? Oh no, that He Yunxiao is in danger." He Yunxiao felt immense pressure. He did not dare to be careless and also used his ultimate skill, White Crane Divine Palm. The two palms collided, and it was as if thousands of thunderbolts had struck. The void in the entire arena turned into chaos. Everyone tensed up when they saw a figure retreating and landing directly below the arena. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Who was it? Everyone looked over and exclaimed, "He Yunxiao." He was defeated. He Yunxiao was actually defeated. Countless people were shocked. Previously, He Yunxiao had shown great strength. Everyone thought that he would definitely be able to compete for first place this time. However, he could not even defeat Wang Zhonglo, who was ranked second, let alone Bu Pingfan, who was ranked first. How could it be? In the third palace, Ling Shi was stunned, as if he had been petrified. His senior brother was defeated? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. This was within his expectations because he had already analyzed the situation of the battle. The people of Dragon Palace were smiling proudly. How could the experts of Dragon Palace be defeated by the opponent? How could it be? I was defeated. He Yunxiao gritted his teeth in disbelief. Had all his efforts over the years been in vain? Wang Zhonglo looked at He Yunxiao and said, "Your strength has improved greatly. Unfortunately, after I joined Dragon Palace, my strength improved much faster than yours. Your strength is not bad. Why don't you join Dragon Palace? Humph! He Yunxiao snorted. Dragon Palace might be a good choice, but he had to think about it carefully. I lost this battle. My skills are not as good as his. Yunxiao gritted his teeth, cupped his fists, and returned to his palace to treat his injuries. Senior brother, are you all right? When Ling Shi and the others saw this, they quickly supported He Yunxiao. It's nothing. I failed this time. Young master must have been careless. Young master, if you were serious, you would not have lost this time. The battle servants said quickly. The spirit snake youth also said that his senior brother's defeat was definitely because of that guy. That guy was cursing senior brother. He said that you would be defeated from the beginning. When He Yunxiao heard this, he turned to look at Lin Xian. His opponent said that he would be defeated from the beginning. A cold-killing intent appeared in his eyes. Lin Xian said indifferently, I'm not talking about a curse. It's the truth. Your strength is weaker than his. Moreover, you were so arrogant from the beginning. It's normal for you to lose. Kid, what did you say? Ling Shi was furious. He Yunxiao's face darkened. Are you criticizing me? What right do you have to criticize me? Because I'm stronger than you. Lin Xian stood up, looked at the two, and said indifferently, in your eyes, Wang Zhongluo is invincible. But in my eyes, he's like an ant. I can suppress it with a wave of my hand. Am I qualified? Chapter 47:95. The people in the hall were all dumbfounded. Wang Zhongluo was an ant. He could easily suppress him? What a joke. Spirit Snake jumped to his feet. He Yunxiao's face also turned cold. He felt that Lin Xian was too reckless. Kid, what's the point of saying that here? Go and say it in front of Wang Zhongluo. I think he can kill you with one slap. That's right. You're the ant. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth, the spirit snake youth clamored. Lin Xian glanced at the two of them and said, So, what if I say it in front of him? After saying that, Lin Xian walked outside. He Yunxiao was stunned. He thought that Lin Xian was just being arrogant in front of him, but he did not expect that. He actually dared to do that. Is that guy an idiot? Do you think you can survive in the challenge competition just because you can't kill someone? He deserves to be seriously injured and crippled. I want to see how that kid will die. He Yunxiao sneered. Even though he had lost, he was still third. He could do whatever he wanted on the stars leaderboard. If that kid dies, doesn't that mean that the white fairy will be mine? Thinking of that, he looked at Yan Ruyu. He was looking forward to Lin Xian going out to die. Outside, in the arena, Wang Zhongyang stood there and laughed loudly. Third place? You can't even withstand a single blow. Who dares to fight me? At that moment, he was extremely domineering. Countless people exclaimed. Other than Bu Pingfan, who was ranked first, no one else could suppress him. Dragon Palace is indeed powerful. Look, someone's coming out. At that moment, someone exclaimed. They saw another figure walk out of the third hall. Is he Yunxiao unwilling to give up and wants to challenge him again? The people from Dragon Palace sneered. Even if he challenged Wang Zhongyang 10,000 times, he would not succeed. However, when they saw that figure, they were all stunned, because they realized that it was not He Yunxiao, but an unfamiliar young man. Who is that? Discussions broke out one after another. The people from Dragon Palace were also stunned. Lan Ziyu's pupils constricted. She stood up and exclaimed, It's that kid. He actually came out. What does he want? Does he want to challenge Wang Zhongluo? What kind of joke was this? After all, Wang Zhongluo was much more powerful than He Yunxiao. He Yunxiao only needed one strike to defeat her. In other words, if Wang Zhongluo wanted to defeat him, it would only be a matter of one palm. If she didn't dare to challenge such a person, would the other party dare to? What a joke. The other party couldn't even defeat her, yet he wanted to challenge Wang Zhongluo. He didn't know what death was. "Brother, let me go up. I want to suppress him with my own hands." Lan Jiu wanted to attack. However, Lan Zilu stopped her. "Little sister, no need. Let Demon Lord make a move. It's best if he can cripple this kid." A sharp look appeared in Lan Lujia's eyes. It wasn't just Lin Xian. They wanted to suppress everyone related to Lin Xian. This was the consequence of challenging the Dragon Palace. "Here it comes." In the crowd, Crimson Dragon and the others smiled when they saw Lin Xian. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan clenched their fists. It was their little martial uncle. They were worried that little Uncle Master would be all right, right? They had seen how terrifying Wang Zhongluo was before. Toad said, "Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Wang Zhongluo is dead meat." Hearing this, the surrounding people went crazy. They looked at Toad and exclaimed, "Someone actually thought that Wang Zhongluo would lose? Did water get into his brain?" Wang Zhongluo looked at Lin Xian's figure and sneered. "Brat, do you think you can challenge me? You didn't even make it into the stars list. An ant-like existence doesn't have the right to challenge me. Get lost!" He shouted coldly. His voice was like thunder. The surrounding people laughed. The people from the Dragon Palace snorted. Indeed, in their eyes, Lin Xian was no different from an ant. He Yunxiao's spirit snake, and the others sneered. However, Lin Xian didn't care. He walked to the arena calmly and looked at his opponent. "You're the second on the stars list, right? In other words, you're the strongest in the Dragon Palace. However, in my eyes, you're just SOO. In my eyes, you're no different from an ant. If I want to suppress you, I only need one hand." Lin Xian's voice wasn't loud, but it spread clearly in the surroundings. At this moment, everyone was stunned. The entire place was silent. In the palace, Spirit Snake's eyes almost popped out. He Yunxiao also gasped. "Damn, he really dared to say that. That's Wang Zhongluo, someone even more terrifying than me. Isn't he afraid of being killed with a slap?" "Kid, what did you say? Are you courting death?" Wang Zhongluo took a step forward. His eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. The surrounding people felt their hair stand on end. They felt like their souls were about to split open. At the back, Lan Jiu sneered. "Is this guy an idiot?" Lan Jiu snorted. "He's indeed trash. He deserves to die." Facing the terrifying killing intent, Lin Xian didn't care. He said indifferently, "Make your move. Use your strongest attack. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. This kid is too arrogant." Everyone felt like they were going crazy. Where did this unfamiliar young man get the confidence to challenge Wang Zhongluo? "Tell me your name." "I won't kill nameless people. Listen carefully. My name is Lin Xian." Lin Xian. The surrounding people were stunned. Then they exclaimed, "Isn't this the guy who came in first in the test a year ago? Isn't he a coward?" It was said that he disappeared after he came. Who would have thought that he would appear now? Countless people were in an uproar. This guy must be out of his mind. Does he really think that this is a test? What a joke. Wang Zhongluo could kill him with one finger. Everyone sneered and shook their heads. Over the past year, the people of the Dragon Palace had been saying that Lin Xian was a coward. They even thought that Lin Xian didn't have much strength. On the mountain peak far away, Qing Feng and Bai Lifei were stunned. Lin Xian? This was the person they were looking for. How could he be so reckless? I want to see what such an idiot looks like. Their eyes lit up as they looked over. To be honest, after the battle between Wang Zhongluo and He Yunxiao, they were no longer interested. The top experts on the stars list were only SOSO. They could kill them with one slap. Hence, they didn't pay attention to him. When Lin Xian appeared, they couldn't be bothered with him. They felt that he was like a fly. Now that they took a closer look, in the next moment, Their bodies shook. Bai Li Fei was dumbfounded. His eyes were about to fall out. Damn it! Why is it him? Qing Feng also sucked in a breath of cold air. Impossible. He was Lin Xian? The two of them recognized that the young man in front of them was the mysterious man in the Spirit Void Valley. He was the person who had defeated Bai Li Fei. Qing Feng also thought that she wasn't his match. They were very curious about the mysterious young man and wanted to know who he was. However, they couldn't find any clues about him. Who would have thought that they would meet him again? Moreover, he was the person they were looking for, Lin Xian. Chapter 4796. It wasn't the first time they had heard of this name. They had come to the ancient city for him. However, they had never seen him before. The rumors about Lin Xian were that he was a coward. They thought that they didn't like him. They even mocked Morong Qingcheng for having bad taste. However, they realized that they were wrong. It wasn't Morong Qingcheng who had bad taste, but them. It wasn't Lin Xian who was an idiot, but them. Damn it. How could it be this kid? Bailey Feifei gritted his teeth. He felt that his pride had been crushed by Lin Xian. He had been defeated by Lin Xian twice. Qing Feng also couldn't believe it. To be honest, she didn't know Lin Xian's identity when she first met Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian's temperament and strength had convinced her and made her fall in love with him. However, she couldn't accept it when she found out that Lin Xian was Lin Xian. For a moment, both of them were stunned. At the front, Wang Zhongluo was similarly stunned. The next moment he sneered. I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be a coward. Since it's you, I don't mind sending you to hell. Since Lin Xian had challenged the Dragon Palace, he would suppress him now. He wanted to let everyone know the consequences of challenging the Dragon Palace. As he thought about this, the nomological laws on Wang Zhongluo's body started to converge and converge on his fist. This punch could destroy heaven and earth. Nothing could stop it. Feeling this power, everyone was in despair. They knew that the kid in front of them was dead meat. Even if this punch couldn't kill Lin Xian, it could seriously injure him. It wouldn't be a problem for him to be bedridden for a few hundred years. This was the fate of an idiot. He Yunxiao and the others sneered and shook their heads. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian smiled. Given your strength, to be able to gather energy to such an extent is truly not easy. However, let me show you what true power is. He stretched out his hand and clenched his fist. There was a divine flame dancing on it. How dare an ant fight with me? Go to hell. Wang Zhongluo's fist, which was covered in demonic flames, rushed over. Buddha fist, demon god strike, a peerless fist technique, a peerless killing move. Everyone was shocked. This Wang Zhongluo already had the qualifications to ascend the Jade role. Sure enough, the eyes of some of the experts on the Jade list lit up, and they frowned. The Dragon Palace had produced a talent. Too weak. Let me show you what a real fist technique is. Lin Xian's fist also flew out. Everyone was disdainful, but when they saw the punch, they were all stunned. That punch was like a sun descending into the mortal world. Monstrous divine flames swept out in all directions. At this moment, everyone felt like they were about to melt. What kind of flame was this? How could it be so terrifying? Everyone retreated in fear. Although there was a defensive array in the ancient arena, it could not block the flames. How could this be? People from Dragon Palace exclaimed. Lan Ziyu's scalp went numb. Even though they were so far apart, and she was an ice attribute martial artist, she could still feel it. The ice continued to shatter. If she got any closer, wouldn't she be reduced to ashes? The third palace. The spirit snake youth was so scared that he knelt on the ground. He Yunxiao's scalp was also numb. Was this the ant he looked down on? This punch was enough to kill him. Perhaps Wang Zhongluo was just an ant in his opponent's eyes. Wang Zhongluo could not believe it. Feeling the heat, endless cracks appeared on his body, and blood dyed his body red. How could this be so strong? Moreover, he could not resist. At this moment, his opponent gave him the feeling of a god, an existence he could not defeat. He knew that he was wrong. Everyone was wrong. The other party was not a coward. The other party was a genuine expert, and he was extremely low-key, only showing his fangs now. No, block it for me. He roared with all his might. He channeled his power to the extreme, and even the precepts on his body burned. No matter what, he had to block this attack. But could he block it? With one punch, his divine demon strike was shattered. His arm was broken and turned into a bloody mist. His body kept cracking and turning into countless pieces. Was he going to die? Wang Zhongluo's face was filled with despair. It was the first time he experienced the feeling of death. Boom, boom. At this moment, the apocalyptic crisis shrouded him. Then it turned into a huge palm and slammed him to the ground. Wang Zhongyang was defeated with one blow. The entire scene was silent, and everyone felt like they were dreaming. They could not believe it. Wang Zhongluo was so terrifying. He was ranked second on the stars ranking, but he was slapped to the ground like a fly. Was he dead? The people from Dragon Palace became nervous. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and snorted. If it were not for the rules of Path Sect, you would be a dead man now. However, with this punch of mine, you can forget about standing up for 100 years. Lin Xian did not kill him because Path Sect had rules, unless it was a battle of life and death. However, he did not care. Wang Zhongluo was like an ant in his eyes. There was no difference whether he was dead or alive. He wanted to shock him. Today, he was here to slap Dragon Palace's face. Unable to stand up for 100 years. This was no different from crippling Wang Zhongluo. The gap between geniuses could be a world of difference in 1 year, let alone 100 years. After 100 years, how high would these people stand? Wang Zhongluo was completely crippled. Wang Zhongluo's face was filled with despair. He spat out blood and fainted. At this moment, Lin Xian looked around and asked calmly, "Who dares to fight with me?" Everyone lowered their heads. What a joke. They could not even take a blow from Wang Zhongluo, let alone the others. Even Bu Pingfan, who was ranked first, was no match for him. How could this be? How could he be so strong? The people from Dragon Palace were in despair. Lan Ziu's body was trembling. She looked down on Lin Xian and thought he was a coward. Now, she felt like she had been slapped in the face. Lin Xian was looking down on her. She was probably no different from an ant in his eyes. She was proud of being ranked 9th on the stars ranking, but now she was in despair. So what if she was ranked 9th? The expert ranked 2nd could not even take a blow from Lin Xian. If she went up, she would definitely die. In the 3rd palace, the young man from Spirit Snake fainted. What kind of person did he offend? He Yunxiao was also trembling, and his face was filled with fear. No wonder Lin Xian dared to say such words. Lin Xian had the strength to do so. He dared to have designs on Lin Xian's woman? Wasn't he courting death? Fortunately, he did not show too much, or he would definitely be dead. Thinking of this, his scalp went numb. From today onwards, he could never offend this terrifying existence. That's great. Well done. Toad, Crimson Dragon, and the rest cheered. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan were stupefied. Their junior martial uncle had already become so terrifying. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.